One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com. One of our favorite sponsors is back. This episode of No Simple Road is brought to you by the one, the only, the magnificent, the best place ever.
Shop Tour Bus.
That's pretty cool when
That's
we do
right.
that like that. Go to shoptourbus.com online, or if you're on your phone, go to @shoptourbus on Instagram and check out the digital lot's most amazing Grateful Dead inspired designs with t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, all kinds of stuff, man. New design up is, what is it, Apple?
And they got the Cassidy one, and then the one right before that was the Help on the Way. They're both super dope.
Yep. And that will come to you in a hand-designed, one-of-a-kind box with a Grateful Dead lyric on the inside, all kinds of extras in there, and you will get free shipping if you put in the promo code NOSIMPLEROAD, and they are going to hook you up, and you're going to be happy, and when you go to that next show, you're going to be looking fly when you walk into that lot. So hook it up, y'all.
Hey, this episode is also brought to you by Define Premium Cannabis.
It is premium.
It is premium.
And
It is cannabis.
And if you're looking for premium cannabis, come look.
Come on, Apple,
check
spit
us
it out.
We have a dispensary in Hillsboro and one in Forest Grove. We are there to take care of you, to get you what you need for your mind, your body, your soul.
On the side of the road. It's an actual
they're nice
dispensary.
dispensaries with air conditioning. That's important this
That
time
is
of year.
important.
It is important.
So come on in, be cool. We'll take your time. We will explain everything to you. There's constantly new products, all kinds of things coming out. And that is our goal. Take our time, make you feel comfortable, give you a great deal. Speaking of great deals, if you do come in, mention that you are a listener of No Simple Road.
No Simple Road.
No Simple Road. You will get 10% off and
a free t-shirt.
and when you wear that t-shirt back
Dang.
in, you will get an extra 5% for wearing that
Aw.
wearable coupon. So make sure to come visit us in
And
Hillsboro
if you
or
go to the
Forest
Hillsboro
Grove.
location Monday through Friday and you ask for Apple, he
Oh,
will
yeah.
come out of the back dressed like a deadhead.
This is true. I don't even have to stretch that one.
And he will help
And he'll be
tend
like,
your butt.
hey, what's
Yeah.
up? How can I help you?
So come check us out. Make sure to tell us you're a listener. Get that 10% off. And
A free t-shirt.
all right, take care of yourself.
Have you ever listened to Disco Biscuits?
Out of a disco ball?
That you got at Electric Fish Lights?
Shit.
Totally can.
You can.
Yeah,
and
you can.
And you know what? If
You
you
should.
ordered it, you probably should. So go to electricfishlights.com and check out the amazing IQ lights that are up there. This is a technology that takes 30 interlocking pieces that can be configured into 15 different shapes. And when you put those shapes together, it's basically endless at what they can build for you. So you basically just tell them, hey, I want a Disco Biscuit lamp with the Disco Biscuits logo, or
Or
I
a
want,
Pokemon character, which is up there more recently.
or a starfish.
Or you can even send your kids to the kids camp that they're having. And
If
your
you're in
kids,
Rehoboth Beach.
And if you're in Rehoboth Beach, you can send your kids there. They will teach them how to create these interlocking shapes with that IQ technology, and they'll bring home their own kit to make their own light.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And all the lights come with a 12-year energy-efficient, safe-to-leave-on bulb, a 12-foot cord to hang the light. What the fuck's the matter with me? It's not, you don't hang the light with the cord. You plug the cord in to enlighten the light, but they also give you a hardware kit to hang the light. So check that out. And go over there and make sure that you tell them that you're part of the No Simple Road family by putting in the promo code NSR. When you check out, you're going to get 10% off, and any NSR family member that gets the color-changing upgrade bulb is going to get a one-of-a-kind, limited edition, No Simple Road collaborative poster. So,
Highly recommend the color changing bulb.
yeah.
It's
so
amazing.
It's pretty amazing. Go to electricfishlights.com, or if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, go to @electricfishlights on Instagram. Give them a follow. Check out what they do. It's enlightening.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out.
No simple road. No simple road. No simple road. No simple road.
Dishes are done, man. You don't know. You don't know me. You know my life. Cash me outside. How about that?
How about that?
Oh, who's that? Who's
hey
that?
guys.
What?
Who's
Hey
over-
now, No Simple Road family. Guess what? We have a special guest in the studio today.
Welcome back.
special
Is it?
guest.
Are you a guest?
I'm
though?
a special guest.
Ew, you're not even a guest.
I live in the
You
room.
pay rent.
I live in the room literally on the other side of that wall right
Well,
there.
now
I'm a
let's say
special
that you're
guest.
an occasional co-host.
Okay, if you are a longtime listener of No Simple Road, you have missed Ryder. If you are a new listener of No Simple Road, I'm going to break it down for you. Ryder used to be on the show with us and was a founding member.
I am
would
a
say, of
founding
No Simple
member.
Road. but he
OG.
well, I'll let him describe what everything. But yeah, he hasn't been on for a little while. He still lives in the house with us. And we sat down to record the intro for our guest this week, who happens to be the one and only amazing
Marc Brownstein,
Yeah, from Disco Biscuits.
Disco Biscuits.
Check that out. Just
What?
saying.
You guys are in for a
No
treat.
biggie. Just
This is
Marc
like an
Brownstein.
intergalactic conversation.
And
if you listen on
actually
YouTube,
called in from his space station for this one.
He did.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, Ryder's here, and again, if you're new to No Simple Road, look, we tell you who the guest is, and then we talk for like an hour and a half, and then we go to the interview. So just hang
sometimes
out.
it's 40 minutes. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's an
whatever.
hour. We talk in the
We
beginning.
talk.
It's
We're
Aaron
talking
And
a
we
lot.
talk about
Yeah.
our life. We talk about our week. We talk about whatever, and then we give the shout out
Well, we
and some
get
love.
into like all the headlines and politics, all the
Oh,
hard hitting
yeah.
stuff, about.
Well, that's
like,
why I'm here. I'm here to talk about
All the controversial things.
Yeah. So
No.
what's up, Ryder? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Welcome back, Ryder.
Welcome
I will
home.
say welcome home.
Well, it's good to be home. Even though, again,
You're home twice.
I am on the other side of the wall that my room is
He
in.
hears all that we do in here.
Yeah, you've been
It's
missing
pretty
that.
well sounded.
Here's the thing. When we very first started No Simple Road, it was like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like,
Well, first of all, it was just Aaron. So
Yeah.
and then it was me and Apple, and then it was me, Apple, and Mel, and then it was me, Apple, Mel, and Ryder, and Darwin, and we're old dusty heads. Me and Apple.
I was going to say.
Me and Apple are old
I
dusty
said, Mel's
heads.
like, I'm not old.
Mel's
Dusty.
not,
I'm not
neither
old.
No,
No,
you
that's
are
nor
not
not
dusty
head.
or old. I was
Mel's a
talking about
fresh
me and
head.
Apple.
And I'm not really not a head.
You're a
I'm
music
not-
fan.
But you
Yeah,
have
there
a
you
fresh
go.
head.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
fresh head.
But Ryder, you wanna take him on a journey?
Yeah, I guess if we're just going to do a rundown of the whole thing, like we started and I was... How long ago has this been going on? 5 years?
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
How old am I? 22? Just still trying to figure out how to
little
do...
tiny
I know, a little
baby.
tiny baby.
We just moved up here.
Yeah, like
a year
21,
up here.
22 is just trying to figure out like who I was and how to do that and what doing that was. And part of that was hanging out with you guys every weekend and enjoying just chilling and hanging out doing podcast stuff. And it got more and more serious and turned into more, the dead scene's never been my thing, but I also realized that like the music scene isn't something that I'm super like dedicated to or interested in, even in the stuff that I listen to on a daily basis. So it just felt more and more like forced interest on my end as the weeks and months went on, and I realized that I wasn't enjoying it and I wasn't like bringing myself to the table, so I stepped away for a while.
Yeah, it was weird because it was like you were here with us and you were participating, and then for a couple of months, you just kind of like were here.
I was just watching an interview I didn't care about.
Yeah, and then
Which sucks.
It did
it's
suck.
like watching a TV show that you don't want to watch, but you got to do it.
You're
It's
just like
ugh.
looking at your
feeling
wire like, what
obligated.
And I
time is
felt
it?
bad about it because like it's my family and it was my, like you said, I was one of
It's your
the
thing
founding
too,
I
yeah.
was a founding members.
Well,
It's
and
my show and I
We were
felt bad.
horribly mean to you behind the scenes.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Well,
I
that's
picked on you
still,
all night.
bullying
that's
and-
still true. I still live in the house.
Because Ryder's so sweet, we just, got to take him down a notch sometimes.
But I just remember that, like, there was one night, I remember where we were standing even. You and I were in the dining room. And I was like, look, dude, if you don't want to do the show, it's totally okay. Like, I am not mad at you. And this, like, look of relief.
Yeah.
And you kind of started shaking a little bit and, like, got teary-eyed. And you were like, thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like going unsaid. And I think that you thought that we were all hot with you because you weren't showing up.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was just like, how do I say I don't want to do it anymore?
Confrontation. Yeah, confrontation. Even
Yeah,
if it's
but-
not like a big confrontation, it's still kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, but even like I said, it was a thing that I started. It had become like a huge part of our daily lives.
Yeah.
Like it's building our life around it as a whole. So like honestly, stepping away from it,
Was
even
hard.
up until a few weeks ago felt like stepping away from the family as a whole.
Wow, man.
And it sucked even again up until like it got less and less over time, but up until we've talked about
No.
then up until a couple of weeks ago.
Well, we know we've talked about
Until the class with Jeff.
Until
we
the
talked
class
about that.
with Jeff, and that it shook a few things up, and until then, it really that I finally realized that like me not being a constant part of it is just part of me being me, and me not being a constant part of it doesn't mean I have to not be part of it
At all.
Yeah, that's what we want, is to have you back. And so you mentioned that. It's like, I mean, this has become a thing we do a lot.
Yeah,
And that's what we're talking about a lot of the time. 50% of the time, it's like that's what we're talking about.
Very
and then you're
true.
like left out. But it's great to have you back, because one of my favorite memories of when we were doing this all day, I'll never forget. I forget what show we were at when we were selling the original No Simple Road pins with the skulls.
Wicked Awesome did
and you're walking.
logo.
You're like, you want to buy a pin with my face on it? I think we were at Skull and Roses. I can't remember where we were at. But
We
no,
were at Dead and Company.
that was
at
at
the
Was it
Gorge.
Dead-
No,
okay.
it wasn't. Was it the Gorge or was it at when we had
Eugene.
a booth at Eugene?
I
think
just
it was when we had a booth at
oh, it
Eugene.
was, yeah. When they
Guys want to
played-
buy a shirt with my name on it, with my face on
and
it?
you're getting people's attention, and they're like, "What? That's you?" And he sold some.
I didn't sell one
I just heard we've
T-shirt
had
by
so much
yelling
fun
at
with
people
you.
about my face on it. I sold them
No.
later, but no one wanted my face
That
on
is
their
not a
T-shirt.
face for selling.
that brings up something, because Simon has said something to me about that exact same thing that Ryder's talking about not feeling like he's part of the family because he's not into what we're into. And so, because think about if it's 50% of what we're talking about, 50% of the time he's not included. And it made me feel really bad. I just didn't know how to bridge that gap, and still kind of don't, because
Well, he's fixed that on his own. He has.
And that's what I realized recently. Like that's what that bridge takes. Because if that's something that you guys are into, just because I'm not into it doesn't mean that that's excluding me.
Exactly.
Well, think about if like we had a tire shop and you don't like cars.
Yeah, but
like-
tires are boring.
Well,
There's some people who are
In
I'm
into
very
tires.
excited
comparison-
by tires.
I know, I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
okay, in comparison, whatever, but still, sorry guys, I had a little pause. There was a bird that just flew almost.
Mel is the epitome of like squirrel.
I am. But no, I guess I'm just glad that you're back. And last week we did an interview with Quabi from the Peace Bus, which you
Yeah.
all will be
That is upcoming.
hearing pretty soon. And I just missed Ryder in that interview so much. I was like, he needs to be there. Like, stop this way.
Yeah, his personality with your personality with his would be.
Well, he was
Just
so inspiring,
so
and I was
positive.
like, I know that one, Ryder would hear something from him, it would spark something. And then two, I was like, this is up Ryder's alley. Like, it's not music centric. It's not anything that we've ever done. Like,
Yeah, there's been a few things that we've done recently that I've thought, damn, Ryder would have really enjoyed that, and it was on my mind too. I mean, we had that conversation, and that kind of like let the air out of the balloon in the room,
Yeah.
so to speak. But like, you know, it still sucked. Like, it was like, damn. But I get it.
Yeah,
Like,
and like
it's not everybody's thing, man.
like I was telling you guys before, like when we first moved up here, I had no idea how to be my own person. My whole life I'd always been like a people pleaser. I was only the person I thought the person immediately next to me wanted me to be. And I had never been anything else other than that. And taking a step away from literally everything, including the podcast, but also in a pretty real way, like from the family, was genuinely good for me. Like I figured out what I wanted, what it meant, what kind of person I wanted to be, and what that meant.
Well, that's the whole thing with like, and this is a dumb cliche, but like when the bird leaves the nest,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
if you're just with your family forever, you're gonna be informed by who they are completely. You're never gonna have your own space in your head completely. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And even though we all live together, that you stepping back afforded you the opportunity and the headspace to figure out what you wanted to do with yourself and who you wanted to be apart from us. And yeah, that's a great thing, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the way it should have gone down. And
That's all I ever wanted with you coming out here is like literally not necessarily a roommate situation strictly, because definitely you want to be there to support you, but like the fact that you have a family to come home to, but you're doing your literal own thing.
Yeah, totally. And I know Apple missed you on the show.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I did. And we mentioned it over to hanging out on the patio, drinking and this and that and stuff. But yeah, and it's changed. Like we were just saying to you, it's changed a lot more. We're doing so many different things now, and you're part of those different things.
Yeah.
You would enjoy a lot of things we're doing. You said that. It's like, wait, who'd you talk to? Tell me more about this person. And you're like, whoa, okay, we're branching out, covering all kinds of things.
To think back to like the first 100 episodes, like what we were doing and where we were at, and in contrast to now, it's a light years different.
It feels like, those first 100, we're trying to establish ourselves. Like, who are we? What do we stand for? What are we doing? Like, what's our bag? And after that 100, we're established. Like, we're not having to reintroduce ourselves every time.
By the way, I'm Aaron.
Mel.
And I'm Apple.
You already heard the whole spiel.
But yeah, like we don't have to reestablish ourselves. Now we can like go, the house is built. Now we can furnish it.
Yeah.
And we found our voices.
We
That
did.
took time. Our voices changed many times.
Yeah, like anytime you do something the first few, maybe even 50 or 60 times, you're not going to be amazing.
No, that's what the whole 10,000 hours thing.
That's what's been so fun about a podcast too. It's kind of like, I look at it, it's kind of like the cannabis industry. They're new.
Yeah.
They're new industries.
Okay.
There was like we didn't, Aaron listened to more podcasts than anybody here, obviously, but there's no like podcasting for dummies. There probably is now.
There probably is now.
100%.
But
There's
you know what I mean? At the
500 books
time,
out.
there was no real standards or anything like that and stuff. We just kind of learned on our own with that. One day you started it with a microphone out on the patio by yourself, and then all came into it and learned over time who we are.
Yeah.
And the show has totally been a way that we could like get through stuff as a family too. Like talking about our psychedelic experiences, about moving here, like the years that we've been here, meeting new people and bringing new family into our house. So like the 2017 up until 2021, this has been like getting to know all of us.
Yeah. And it is a rebirth for everybody here too. Moving up here was a rebirth.
Oh yeah.
And then another birth after the rebirth.
And then another.
And then
rebirth.
another.
Yeah.
A lot of
Another
We've
rebirth.
had
rebirth.
several for sure.
Yeah, man. And I was thinking about it this morning, like having Brownie on the show. I can think back to like when I'll use O'Teal as an example. So like we had O'Teal on the show twice, but the first time we had him, like I was so nervous, and you guys have all heard the story, like just shitting my pants and blown away that we were talking to O'Teal and like the whole thing. And now it's like, well, let me back up. So that all got in the way of the conversation for me. Like I had to get past myself in order to have a conversation with somebody like that. Do you get what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, to be comfortable.
And it was really hard. Like I'm talking about like in the moment as the conversation is happening, like continually having to remind myself to get out of my way. You know what I mean? And I think the difference now is there's not that's not there.
You're not in your own way
no,
anymore.
I can sit down. We can just talk to Brownie. It's not like I'm not fucking freaking out and going to throw up. You know what I mean?
I'm grateful that was always my thought. Like I've had that maybe a few times where I was like nervous or something, but
with who?
Well, with Dave Schools, with His Golden Messenger,
Oh yeah,
with
that was early too. Oof.
I can't the Greyhounds.
Really?
Yeah. Just a few, like
Okay.
those are the few that come off the top of my head. And maybe it wasn't for the same reason. Like it wasn't being starstruck or anything like that. It was, maybe with Dave Schools, it was like the importance that you put on it, you know? And so like feeling like, oh my God, this is really important.
Well, Schools is a teacher.
Yeah, Dave Schools is, I mean, everybody knows about Dave
He's a guru,
Schools. He's
literally.
he's incredible. But like
Love you, Dave.
having, I didn't have that nervousness. What I had was more of like, I'm like sitting on the sidelines, like, okay, that's cool. I'll throw my
I'll
2
peek
cents
in when I can.
Yeah, and so what I had to learn is not to get out of my way, but I had to learn to be my full self instead of only showing a little portion.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like I had to like literally learn to become myself in front of everybody instead of just kind of hiding and being like, oh yeah, that's cool.
You know that.
Oh yeah, that's right. You know, like just
The hype
kind
man, the
of
hype
yeah,
man.
throw in every 2 cents in, and it's been a challenge. Like yeah, it's hard to like know your true self with a camera or a mic in front of you. It's a challenge.
Well, the whole thing with a camera or a mic usually is you not being yourself. Do you get what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
playing a role. That's usually the thing. Like smile, you know,
Ham it up.
ham it up.
Everybody
Yeah,
say cheese.
and
do this.
This is a completely different thing. This
Yeah.
is like, and I feel like doing No Simple Road has helped me find my voice in so many ways, so many different ways. Like that whole thing of getting out of my own way in a conversation, I didn't realize that was something that I did regularly,
time?
that I had like, I had social anxiety, that was like a thing. And it happened through the show, like this unfolding of like, oh shit, that's a thing that you are dealing with and you need to address it.
And that makes it hard to listen. I remember you talking about this with because you were always preparing, like you say, with a lot of things, and like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm already thinking about the next thing. And that makes it hard to do what we do
in
now,
the
being
present.
very
Right.
comfortable and having comfortable, awesome conversations.
Remember you having
and we all
lists?
had to learn that. We're not the best listeners sometimes, and we've all gotten much better at life and on the air listening.
Remember you having lists of questions that you never touched except for maybe once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
Just this
I would be like
extensive list
so
of
scared
questions.
that I was gonna run. There was gonna be like silence.
it wasn't fun at first. There was a lot of times where it wasn't fun because of that. Like
It was exciting and terrifying for me. Like,
Yeah. And it made me and Mel and Ryder worried sometimes with you. Like, oh my God. He's like you'd almost be kind of clammy and
Yeah, oh,
like fucking
definitely.
Come on, guys.
yeah,
it was like a mom stressed out going to Disneyland and she's like trying to gather everything up.
Get in the fucking car.
like,
We're going
whoa.
to Disneyland.
But
We gotta
like
gas up. We gotta get our lunch. Did you get your bags? Like what the?
But
fuck?
like we
we
went
just
to
wanna have
Disneyland
fun.
once a week for 50 weeks, and you're like, "We've done this. You
Yeah,
got it,
you-
man.
Yeah.
Like you can do this."
the
Well,
car's
dude,
already
I know.
packed.
If we
No, I
forget
know,
anything,
it's-
Disneyland has it all. Don't worry
look,
about
man.
it.
If when one has hangups,
Oh.
they have hangups, as you well know, Ryder.
Yes.
You know, like
Well, all of us have
yeah.
hang-ups, so we all know what you're talking about. But yours wasn't expressed. Yours wasn't vocalized. It was just coming
It was
out
internal.
in action.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
and
that's really hard to deal with.
It's hard to watch someone struggle with their hangups when you know they could just stop doing it, but
Well,
you
that's the
obviously
thing with a
can't.
hang-up.
Yeah,
You
I know
can't
you
just-
can't just stop
Like-
doing
like,
it. But
click.
like,
Oh,
oh,
no.
hey, look
hey,
at that.
there
No,
we
I'm
had a
not doing that
switch.
anymore. It took multiple psychedelic journeys,
yeah,
200 interviews and more.
practice and
And
practice and practice.
and like and multiple psychedelic journeys.
Well, and also like
again.
not just all those two things, but like having the No Simple Road, like meeting them and
Yeah,
coming to
that
us,
too, man.
like these were all experiences that helped to kind of quell and give that kind of social anxiety, like a direction to work at.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And I've thought about it a lot, and like, so part of the thing with doing this is like that feeling of being at a show and you're just like abandoned in the music and you're responding to the frequencies that are happening and the music is responding to you, and those magic moments, like you're not in your own way in that moment. And my thought pretty early on was like, I want to be able to bring that feeling to a conversation. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that for myself, like
That flow.
Where I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just doing that.
You're present. Yeah.
And everybody's your family.
Yeah. And it really feels like, especially when we're doing the intros like this, like, and we've said it before, like that it's a lot like playing music. The conversation it's improv, 100% improv. This whole, like we come in here, we don't know what the fuck we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we just know who the guest is we're doing an intro for.
Right.
And sometimes we get super deep and sometimes we really don't, you know, and we talk about stuff that's going on in our life or stuff that's going on around us, and all of it's great. But I know what you mean as far as like having to just be free of any other, anything, thoughts, obligations, and just we're in the room, we're with this person or we're with each other, and that's all that's happening.
And it's also feeling your way through the conversation too. Like I remember talking to Brownie and like talking about stepping off the cliff together.
Oh yeah.
And
I don't know where my notes are, but I've got
and
that written down.
That's something that like at first it was just me stepping off the cliff. And I think one of the big milestones in getting over myself and all my bullshit was realizing that you guys were here with me stepping off the cliff. Like, obviously I'm not a complete idiot. I knew you were here, but like feeling that support and being like, if I completely fall on my face, we're going to do it together.
Yeah, knowing something and feeling something are totally separate from each other.
Yeah.
There's like, if you feel comfortable, that's one thing. But if you know you can feel comfortable, that's something. That's not current. You know, that's a knowing. And to be honest, that's what's always made me feel comfortable during every single interview we've ever done. Is that it's not just me. I'm not by myself. Like I'm with my posse. So if I get a dumb question or if I say something stupid or mess up, you guys are going to be right back to make it a joke or to pick up or explain what I meant or whatever. Yeah.
And we're good at doing that because we do that in real life.
Totally.
We come with that.
Well, and not for nothing, there's someone on the other end of the microphone too. Like there's the other person you're interviewing.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about even doing just the intros too. Yeah. And that's adding a whole other dimension to it. So we're talking a lot of the times to these like amazing improv musicians, right? And that's what they do for a living is step off the cliff. Like that's their thing. These are masters at abandon.
They're cliff divers.
Yeah. And so now like when we get to talk to somebody like Brownstein, or I'll use O'Teal as another example, like, or any of the guests that we talk to that play music, I'm excited to talk to them now because I feel like we get to jam with them, and I know that I can play. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you've been
Absolutely.
on stage enough times. You're comfortable with the improv thing, and that is definitely what we do is improv. Like this isn't scripted.
No.
Okay, guys, it's time for part 2.
Oh, hang on.
Part 2.
Everyone turn the page. Did
Mel.
you guys email the next guest the script?
We did.
Okay,
we
cool.
did. Mel, you're next.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to say, oh, wait,
It's
I'm not
wrong
supposed to
wrong
say
page.
that.
You're on the wrong page.
It
You're on
says
the wrong
with
page.
seriousness.
No,
That was too
you
serious.
all have it
Setting
here
interior.
first. This is, it's life. You guys are joining into our life. This is our real world or our like reality TV, but it's on
This
podcast.
is our Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yes.
Oh, gross. No, it's
Hey,
not.
you know
Yeah,
what? It's not that bad. It is not gross. I wouldn't say it's gross.
Okay.
Maybe the earlier
I'm not
seasons.
going down the rabbit hole.
Maybe the earlier seasons. but
Yeah,
the
there's
later,
people that like it. And that's for them.
Yeah. Awesome.
My sister's one of them.
No.
And I'll get down on some Bruce Jenner.
Hey,
And I'll
listen.
totally get down on. Wait, no, not Bruce. Well, that's earlier seasons.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
early
But
seasons.
now it's Caitlyn.
Caitlyn.
Listen, you get stoned, spend a couple hours just droning out. It's pretty nice.
Okay, I'm gonna take your word for it and move on. Yeah, I get that, the whole reality thing. Like, that's the beauty of podcasting, is it is 100% theater of the mind. Like, we live in your head 100%. One of the things we were talking about this yesterday in the car, just by our voices, you've never seen us before, right? Like, people meet Apple, more than one person is like, dude, I thought you were like a 25-year-old man.
Oh, and I have to say a huge shout out to the person that wrote in about my voice. It was an earlier episode, so it wasn't a recent one. I don't recall who it was, but it was on Squarespace, and
I'm working on it.
they said that they like my voice, and
It was Brandy W.
Brandy W. So thank you, Brandy. I really appreciate that. I have found a way to actually enjoy my voice and kind of like separate Melanie from the person who's talking, or separate myself from Melanie. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, this person's on a podcast. She's interviewing, Mark today, and I'm listening to what she has to say instead of being like, ew, why did you say that? Why didn't, it's not you and it's not me, it's her.
Well, that's
like,
a useful skill,
I
not
do
just
that.
in podcasting.
I
That
do
for
that all
all
the
of you
time.
out there too, man. That, like, to be able to look at what you do objectively and remove yourself from the, I'll use a magic term, lust of result, and like just be able to see the thing for what it is and evaluate it from there. That's really awesome.
Well, it's taken a lot of practice, but I realized that is a skill that I had aside from podcasting. It's a skill that I've learned to do from childhood shit that wasn't, I don't think, was a positive thing at the time, but I've learned to kind of disassociate. But I learned how to do it positively. I turned it around. Instead of like being absent, I learned how to actually stay present, take myself out of the situation and look at what's happening instead of being emotionally drawn and, driven by what's going on.
Yeah,
It's been so helpful. It's been so fucking helpful for a million things. And the biggest one has been grace, having grace for myself.
that's
And I talked about that a few episodes back when I was doing my 21-day thing, but I received the gift of grace during that 21-day meditation. And that was one of the like light bulb moments, was like,
what does that mean? Explain that, having
What?
grace for yourself.
well, I mean, that's not a one-liner. It's not like the way that I have grace for, this was my example. I'm very hard on myself when I'm learning things, when I'm trying new things, or when I already know things. So, for example, like if I'm learning like the ukulele, right? Or ukulele, however you want to say it. I feel like I should already know it. Why? I don't know. Like in my head, there's something in me that just
should.
I
You
just
looked at
feel
it.
like I know I should know it without practice, without ever having touched
You
one.
see other people play, and you're like, I should be able to do that.
without lessons. And so
Should sign up for Mellify.
well, yeah. And so I would get frustrated with myself and then either drive myself to continue to do it, but with
With an attitude.
and with all this negative banter inside, or I would just ignore it and not do it anymore and be like just fuck it kind of a thing. And then be mad at myself internally about it. Like, you didn't even do that. You said you were going to do that. Why'd you spend the money? Why'd you go there? Why didn't you? And so there's never any break. So if I'm doing it, I'm giving myself a hard time. If I'm not doing it, I'm giving myself a hard time. And that 21-day meditation was like, look, stop, just stop and look at what you've done. And it started listing all these things that I've done successfully and unsuccessfully, all these things I've tried, all these things I've gone through. And it was like, why? That was just a question. Why? You don't treat anybody else like that in your whole life, even your enemies. Why do you treat yourself like that?
Damn.
And it was,
You busted yourself.
I busted myself,
Busted.
but I was there to like pick up and like wipe my knee and like cuddle myself. It was like, stop doing that because it's not fair.
You be a good girl.
Like that good, that like
yeah.
that smack
It
and
was-
that instant
smack and a hug.
It was a smack and a hug, and then it was a continuous hug thereafter. It was like, you don't need to treat yourself like that. You're allowed to learn. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to figure things out that are tough, and you're allowed to ask for help.
And that goes for everybody that just heard her say that.
The best thing you can do for yourself or anyone else, period, is forgiveness. Anything fucking you up, like, it comes down to forgiveness.
Dude, we were talking the other day about a person in our life that has a lot of grief and guilt that they carry around with them.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it like start to eat away at them. And like, I've always heard those sayings like, you know, the person that suffers when you hold a grudge is the person that's holding the grudge, and all those, you know, the sayings that, you know, you think they don't mean anything, but holy shit, man. Like, and
It'll kill you.
yeah. And
For
like,
real.
the biggest one is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've all fucked up, and we're all going to fuck up again. And like, not letting yourself off the hook, even if you like,
So that's what grace is right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
even
Letting
if you-
yourself off the hook no matter what. And it's not saying you can't hold yourself to a good standard.
Right.
Like that, it's like not one or the other. You don't have to like be a total dipshit and okay, you're real fine.
And forgiveness will help you hold yourself to a higher standard.
Yes, it
I
will.
promise.
It will.
I am
Oh,
not didn't grow up a clean, like, high standard person, and I wasn't until I started to forgive myself for like the little things.
Well, when did you start to do that? Like how did you
What
come
time
to
is
that?
it?
Yeah, no. I guess so. I would say 2-3 years ago, I had this like weird realization where it seems like everybody is always their best selves when they're falling in love with someone, and I was like, that's stupid. That's fucking dumb. Why do I need to be falling in love with another person to be the best version of myself that I can be? And I realized that I don't have to. I can fall in love with myself. And I had to figure out what that meant, like how I fall in love with people
Yeah.
and what that meant. But the thing that like really kicked me in the face was that when you're falling in love with someone, you'll forgive them for literally anything. And like, if you're really head over heels, unless
true.
they stabbed your mother in front of you, like, you'll forgive them for
Then you still be like, well,
the
mom
world.
was
Yeah, like,
being
what'd you do,
kind
Mom?
Kind of a pain in the
what were you
ass.
doing? And that's what kind of clicked that in my head, was like, along with every other thing, like finding the little things that you do that you enjoy, and progressively using that over time. But like the biggest thing was to forgive myself for, it started small, like little mess ups in conversations or mess ups at work, and then bigger and bigger until,
And then that goes right in line with acceptance.
yeah.
Accepting not just yourself, but people around you. Sometimes people are just dorks, and that's fine. But you don't have. It is fine.
It's true.
Yeah.
And why does that person have to be anything different than what they are to you?
Right.
You know, because it's going through your lens. So you're like, this guy or this girl is such a dork, but that's your lens. And so why does that person need to be anything other than that? They're just living.
Dude, think about when you talk about like that, I think about walking through the concourse at a show and like the chick that's like spinning in circles and the dude that looks like he's picking up marbles off the floor and the wook that's like staring at the concrete having a conversation with it. And like there's all these different people in the concourse and you're not walking by going, what an asshole. Look at her.
Being judgy. And
You're like, fuck yeah, you're happy for everybody that they're there and they're having fun.
being
and like,
themselves.
you can take that out of the show with you and like, oh shit, I can feel like that about everybody everywhere. I can feel like that about the lady at the grocery store that just cut me off or the, you know,
Including
whatever.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially yourself.
That's the most important one.
It's very insidious how our minds work, you know, because then it'll start to trigger stuff from like childhood that you've heard, you know, that mom or dad said to you, or your cousin that was jealous, or your teacher that didn't believe in you. Like, it'll start to kind of come into you, and you'll think that those are your thoughts, and they're not.
Dude, that's...
I actually literally 3 years ago wrote this for myself because of that. Let me pull it up. One sec.
This because of that.
Because of like how hard it is to like have your own voice in your head instead of everyone else.
Decipher which one's yours and not theirs. Yeah.
I wrote this. Actually, I wrote it for someone and never gave it to them because they fell out of my life. But I should give this to them. But it's called "It's Hard." It's hard to find enough light in these dark times to make your way through the uncertain path you've chosen, but you chose it because it's yours. It's hard to know which part of you is yours and which parts were forced upon you, but only you can decide who you are. It's hard because you have to fight against your own instinct, the thing that takes control and acts before you're even conscious of it. It's hard, but it's not impossible. You can choose to be who you want instead of letting your past make you the person you think you are. It's hard, I know, but you can do it. And I've read that to myself probably 500 times.
Wow, man, that's
fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, another cool thing I've done for myself, right before we moved here, I bought a greeting card for myself, and I wrote in it this huge long list of things that I was and that I've accomplished in the kind of crazy swirly way that I do. And I put it in an envelope, and I didn't mark the envelope. So there's a card with an envelope in it, and so I've hid it from myself many times.
That's not hard.
Yeah, you know I'm a squirrel. And then I would find it, and I'm like, you know, I'll be like looking for a birthday card for somebody, and be like, oh, pull it out, and I'm like, oh shit, and read it, and it like almost every time I pick it up, it makes me cry, because it was affirming. It was one of those times where I was feeling empowered, I was feeling good about myself, I was feeling myself, and
good to yourself.
I was being good to myself, and I wrote this out, and every time I'm like, holy shit. And that is another cool thing. Like, writing is one of the best tools that you can use to get out of your
if
head.
That's your thing.
I'm just saying one of them. I mean, you can freaking express yourself anyway, but that's the way that I have found that really kind of shoots right into my gut and into my heart.
It is hard, writer. It's difficult to get that through your own head.
Mm-hmm.
That like, you don't have to be who other people think you are, and then trying to figure out what's left after that.
You don't have to be who you think you are.
Right.
That's the most fucked up.
It's the story you tell yourself about yourself. Yeah. And that's the Western magical tradition. Like, that's the whole base of it, is like finding your true will. And that means finding out who you really are, apart from all those things that you've
Western society has put on you.
Attached to yourself based on other people's perceptions of you and your own perceptions of how you think they think about you.
Yeah.
And getting to the center of that. And I mean, that's like the goal. And then once you get there, then you can start like really doing work.
Yeah.
And healing yourself. And you don't have to find it from outside.
And recreating yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that is constant. Okay. When I was with Sydney, we were at Huntington Garden, and her friend and her mother was also in town, and we were talking, and I was walking behind her, and I was like, hey, did you get a tattoo removed from your back? She's like, yeah. I was like, that's a really good job, because it just looked like it almost looked like a birthmark. And she's like, yeah, I'm already thinking of what other tattoos. I was like, you're going to get another tattoo? She's like, oh yeah, I like to modify my body. I just think of it as editing. And when she said that to me, my entire like childhood, adulthood, everything just came like flashing into my, because it's like, I'm always like, you can't course correct. You have to do it right the first time. It's like, oh, you fell off the tightrope. No, you don't get another chance. Nope. Go, like, you're done. And when she said that to me, she was just saying it about herself.
About getting tattoos.
About getting tattoos had nothing to do with life. It was her fucking body.
But you can edit yourself.
And I was like, wow, that is some big fucking head message to me. It was like, shot me through the heart. It shot me through the chest. It shot me through the head, and was like, you can edit yourself, baby. It's all good.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. It's all good.
Mm-hmm. It is all good. I love you guys, man. I really do. Well, you want to do the week real quick and then...
Do the week?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to go first?
I'll start it. My week was fantastic. I just did a treatment on one of my friends from work, and it was incredible. We both had an amazing time. I just kind of reignited my selfness. I guess what I mean by that is, like, sometimes, along the way I don't want to say you forget yourself, but sometimes you forget that you know how to do things, or sometimes you forget that you're good at stuff. Aaron and I were just talking about this in regards to tie-dye. And sometimes it takes somebody or something that you do to remember something you already knew, or to just reinstill something that, like underscore it. And we just had an amazing time, and she left, and she's like this little cute, tense ball, and she left, and she was like all teased out and relaxed, and just...
Yeah, she was chilling when
that
she
tension was gone, and she was smiley and cute, and I was so proud to see her walking off, and feeling like that. And it brightened up my day. It brightened up my whole fucking day. And this was a gift that somebody actually paid me to give her this gift. And so that right there in itself was a blessing. I get to do something for this girl that somebody paid because they thought she was this.
You got to make sure it's a good gift.
Exactly.
I'm going to gift this up.
And so I just and I didn't even think that in my head. I was doing my normal, natural Melanie self. I wasn't even trying to put it on thick. I was just, and it made me really. It made my heart feel so good.
Aww. That's
and
cool.
So that's the end of my work weekend. It's Monday. And then I brought home a bottle of blueberry Moscato.
Dude, it's so good.
It's so good. And I've got a whole week of fun stuff planned. So I'm on a high. I'm feeling good. I'm soaring. I'm editing, and I'm killing it.
What about you, Ryder? How's your week been?
It's been a really good week. I worked most of it. But I went out to eat in a restaurant.
Like inside of
Like
a real
inside of
restaurant
a
with people
restaurant.
and everything and food?
People, not even just with people, with my friends that I haven't seen in forever. And it was
that's
really
cool.
fucking cool. And we just spent like 2.5 hours catching up. So that was really, really fun. I've been more utilizing the tools I've come up with recently. I guess I'm sure you guys have talked about Magnus and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Blue in the face.
I know.
People are asking about Magnus.
We should give him his information. He's wonderful. I've started working out recently and eating better. And like I was talking with Magnus the other day, that's super helpful with stuff like depression. I felt myself going into a bit of a depressive episode earlier this week, and with the tools I have as far as eating healthy and working out, I pulled myself right out of that, said no, not today.
Dang.
And
showed it who's boss.
Yeah. And that was really
Smack and a hug.
Smack my bitch up.
It was really affirming.
And then a quick hug.
Yeah.
Oh, bitch.
No, I'm comfortable slapping my depression and just leaving it out in the cold. That was no, it was really affirming and nice.
Cool, man.
Wow.
Congrats.
That's great.
Yeah.
Affirmative.
Mansana.
No, that was mine. Affirmative.
Affirmative.
Okay, cool.
He had an affirmative week.
Ditto. Oh,
Samesies.
yeah, samesies. No. So, well, let's see. I was struggling last week, as everybody knows from the last intro and stuff. I wasn't present for the first intro of 2 episodes last week. I'm doing better, still processing things, figuring things out. A big part of that is the changing world that we live in, which there have been and still are so many unknowns, and things are opening back up. We're planning things. That's a very welcome anticipation, but it's also an unfamiliar one after a year and a half of nothing. So processing a lot of things going on, planning things. We're already starting to get things that we can't do because they cross over with others. Again, a very welcome thing, but it's weird being shut off for a year and a half almost from a lot of stuff. I mean, we've continued doing this, which has been wonderful, therapy and everything, but now like the anticipation of going, it kind of like, let's go back to a Disneyland reference, because it kind of reminds me like say your mom, dad, your uncle, whoever kept telling you, we're going to Disneyland, and then that weekend comes, they're like, oh, no Disneyland. That's happened so much in the last year and a half.
We're going next week.
Yeah. Like disappointment has become kind of natural.
It's the new normal.
Yeah, unfortunately. So I don't know. That in a nutshell, I guess my point is that it's just dealing with so many things, like positive, and I wouldn't even say negative or depressing or anything. Just trying to figure it all out, like coming back, like the motherboard's warming back up, and the switches are coming on, and electricity's going over here now. And it's like, oh, I thought that shit was broken. And then it's like, no. It's like, no, shit. I remember that part. So it's like kind of rewiring and stuff. I'm in the middle of that. And it's weird, like you guys have noticed around the house. I'm not a quiet person, and I'm more quiet in the last several weeks and stuff, because just like we're like figuring things out. Kind of like Ryder said with his, figuring stuff out
What's
lately.
cool is like yesterday you were like, and another thing how I was feeling, like just kind of randomly you're throwing the little bits and pieces here. And so that's cool because it's affirming that it's not like a change in your temperament. What it is, it's like, no, you're just processing your stuff and you do need time. Like people like, I need my space. I need time. And then they fucking run off and they never see him again. This is like, I need my space. I need time. But hey, by the way.
And this is what's happening.
And that's what I'm like to do. A new thing for me, which is awesome, is kind of learning to process stuff on my own before I blurt it out or go to somebody else. Like immediately a question comes to you and I'm like, Google, what does this mean? Like to the, because we're used to that. Like let somebody else answer it for me. No, come up with your own answers, stew on something, let it, and then figure it out. And then if you have questions, go to your loved ones and friends. I mean, not on everything, but deep personal things. It's kind of like, wait, I'm working this out. If I throw this out to somebody, this delicate thing that I'm rediscovering, then it's going to have the influence of which I love everybody in this room, but it's going to have their spice, their flavor, trying to it's like dream interpretations or something kind of. You tell somebody that's like, well, that sounds like you're fucking crazy or something. It's like, no, there's a lot to it. But anyway, my week is going good. The weekend was fun. We had the awesome Jack Weber. Jake Weaver was over to record us for his podcast, which we'll let you know when that's coming up.
Is coming to midnight.
Had super fun time with him, and Bren came over for a visit. That's another thing too. People are starting to be a lot more comfortable getting together and hanging out and stuff, and that's really fun. Summer's here, and how's the weather, Carl? Hot. Damn it. Oh. Yeah, it's warm, and so that's my week.
And being able to brighten up their spirits was really great too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Apple, you were talking about, the way things were and being used to disappointment, and then like now this new thing is happening and you're having to like get used to it again. And immediately Grateful Dead lyrics came to mind, and it's from New Speedway Boogie.
Were you being cheeky?
Not at all. No. And here, I'm going to read it. It's just one little part of it. Who can deny? Who can deny? It's not just a change in style. One step down and another begun, and I wonder how many miles. That's right where we're at. Like one step down, another's begun. don't know what's going to happen here, man. But here we
how
go.
long.
But here
Or
we
how
go.
long, but here we go. And it, you know, this past week I saw a couple of things that really really impressed on me the emotion and the power behind music coming back. And so the first thing was Trey walking on that stage at SPAC.
Yeah.
And the reaction of the crowd just to Trey walking on the fucking stage for the first time since the pandemic started. It was overwhelming. I felt the emotion coming through the screen on my phone. It was that powerful. Like,
So then you don't need to go to any concerts?
no, I'm done.
Okay,
Actually, I'm just going to stay
cool.
home this summer.
Thanks, Trey. We're fulfilled.
Yeah, we're
Thank
done,
you.
buddy. Thanks, Trey. Yeah, so it was amazing. And then the other thing was listening today to Goose. They played the Caverns, above ground at the Caverns. And hearing the crowd noise with the band made me start crying while I was running today. Like, it was just like this, like,
It's real.
Something
now
broke.
It's happening.
It's like we were listening to Trey the other night, and I was like, there's just nothing like screaming audience with music. Like when you hear live footage of, it doesn't matter what band it is, you know, they're just getting on, you're in the background, and like, there's nothing like that. You can't duplicate that. It's the whistling, the cheering, the woohoo, yeah, like all of those things combined with the songs that are coming on. It's such an excitement. It's so exciting.
well,
And it's got more love and light than ever. That's what all
Yes,
this music is
that's
about.
the point. That's where I was getting
when
to.
you said Goosens too, I was thinking the Humphrey show the other night. That all these shows, the love and the light is back, and it's more powerful than ever. And on Trey, listening to Trey singing, like there's so much within lyrics and the way he was delivering things with an emphasis on what has happened in the last year and a half. And with like a grin and a
wink and a nudge.
Yeah, and everybody just
yeah. And dude, not to mention, if you're not a Goose fan, dude, I'm sorry for you. I apologize, but holy shit, dude.
they're fucking amazing.
Holy shit is all I have to say. Like they walked out. The show I listened to, like I said, was from the Caverns, and I think they were there for 3 nights. And so whenever there's a band like on Nugs and they've done a 3-night run, and I'm going to listen to it for the first time, I'll pick the second set on the last night because I want to hear them when they're good and warmed up
Yeah.
in the second set. And so I broke my rule today and put on the first set from that last show. And there was no warm up. They walked out on the stage. Everybody was going Goose, and then they just melted that place to the floor. It was insane, and it just feels so good to.
Was that in May?
Yeah.
Yeah, May 8th and 9th, and it was 2 days in Tennessee.
Okay, there it is. Mel's the fact checker.
Well, because years ago, Sarah told me about the Caverns,
Pelham. Yeah.
and she was just like, oh my God, when you come back, we have to go to this one place. It's amazing. They have a fucking cave with concerts there. And I was like, what? And I never heard anything. And I didn't know what she didn't know what the name of it is, or maybe she did tell me, but I forgot.
It's like a cavern, but I don't know the
Yeah,
name.
well, she
Some
said
kind of
cave.
cavern.
She didn't say
Concerts there.
cavern. She said cave.
Some kind of
And so
cavernous cave.
I don't know, but I recently started following them, and the owner happened to be on Rolling Stone. He got interviewed, and so I just started scrolling and looking, and I'm like, dang, they're having everybody there right now. We need to go to Tennessee.
Yeah, we will. So that happened this week. Father's Day was really fun. We went and picked
Happy
cherries.
Father's Day out there, everybody.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the No Simple Road dads, man. You guys are fucking rad. But we went to Cody's house and picked cherries, And we got a 5-gallon bucket filled with the most delicious cherries on the planet. And then me and you came home and did some tie-dyeing, and that was super fun. I haven't tie-dyed since we lived in Vegas, and it was a blast.
That was really fun,
It was
babe.
super fun.
I was like, hey, I want to tie-dye my dress. You're like, okay. I love you so much for that, babe. 'Cause you're so good at that. Like, I'll be like, I want to do ... And then you're like, okay, let's do it. Like, wait, I don't know if
You
I
got to
do.
be careful what you say, because I'll just go. I'm a Sagittarius. I'll shoot the arrow. Like,
But
consequences be damned.
but
Here we go.
Both of our tie-dyes came out dope.
Your dress came out so cool.
Thank you. That dress
Yeah,
is...
you got to post a picture of that.
I'll
that is
post a
amazing.
picture. I will definitely. I think, you know what I dreamed of last night? This is what I was thinking of last night when I fell
Tie-dyed
asleep.
sheep.
No. I
tried.
thought this dress was going to be my summer concert dress, and I was going to wear this for every concert that we go to.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I would.
I'm like, why
wouldn't
not?
you?
And that's what I fell asleep thinking. And now after seeing the dress, and I will embellish it with other stuff, but
We got to get some patches.
whatever.
So, yeah, tie-dyed with you
I want to
yesterday.
I want to know what like that fabric is. Like
I think it's
that,
like
that it didn't take it.
it's
but
either
the lace
polyester
did.
or
That's like an-
rayon
I think it's
or
polyester because that fiber reactive dye won't work on it at all.
It's just
whatever.
It was so cool what happened though.
Yeah. You
Anyway.
guys,
happy accident.
Go to Instagram right now. It'll probably already be there.
Maybe not.
I'm not that fast.
Yeah.
You'll see it at a You'll see it at the gorge.
eventually.
But
Yeah, you'll see it at the gorge for sure.
the other thing too, man, like Ryder was talking about working out and eating better and all that, and we've talked about that a lot on the show, but I've been working really hard at it.
Yeah, you have,
and
baby.
I fucking wore myself out a little bit.
The last couple days.
Yeah,
you
I
have.
was.
Well, you
I
don't
was-
push things.
I was
Come
like,
on.
why am I so fucking tired last night?
Dude,
Like,
Aaron looked
You got a new
like
workout thing and wore yourself out on it? What?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Aaron looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. Not just like he skipped a nap. He looked like he'd been forced to be up on the computer and like on an exercise bike at the same time.
I got in bed last night and I was like, I'm not going to be able.
You reminded me of Darwin a little last night. You're like leaning down the hall before anybody was going. You had that.
Oh,
It's
dude.
bedtime.
Yeah.
It's bedtime.
It was a trip. And like, I started giving myself a hard time today about it. I was like, the fuck's the matter with you? Why are you so tired? You slept last night. Like, get to work.
Beat yourself
Yeah.
up.
And I was like, wait, hold on, man.
Forgiveness.
Listen.
Stop
And
it, dude.
And I like looked back over the week and I was like, oh, you've been fucking busting your ass.
Also, sometimes you're just tired,
well,
man.
and it's fucking hot.
It's hot. Well, also, like, I don't know if you guys... I might have an anxiety disorder that induces insomnia. But, like, there's days where I just won't sleep.
No, that doesn't happen to me, dude.
Okay, then
I
I
get
might
that
have
once
an
in a while.
anxiety
Nope.
disorder. Who
Nope.
knows?
I can always, no matter what, fall asleep.
Nope.
That's never my problem is staying asleep. Yeah.
I do also have that issue.
That's because I have a dog.
No, that's not the only
His
reason.
favorite thing to do is wait till about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning and breathe in my face and be like, hey, man, hey.
and then ticky-tack down, and then ticky-tack down those stairs that are 4 feet away
Yeah.
from my door and wake me up.
Yeah. Hey, man, I really got to go out and get a drink. And I might have to go poop, so you should really let me out. I'm like, fuck. And I get up and we walk down the hall. And he stands at the door when I open it, and he won't go out unless I go out with him and stand out there and wait while he fucking farts around at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
I
awesome.
And
can't
his
go
nail,
out
I
there
still
without you.
maintain to this day, his nails sound like it's like a bunch of like hookers with high heels, little tiny ones,
little
like the
tiny-
size of Barbie dolls, and they're just like click 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 in the middle of the night. And I'm like,
troop of
what's
prostitutes
that?
in the hallway.
Hookers
Like that picture of the carrot that I have with the
with
little.
the sexy legs.
Yeah.
It needs you need to make
need
little
to
hot
post that
pants.
too.
It needs little hot pants for it.
I'll post those two pictures side by
Side by
side.
side,
Yeah.
a little album.
Oh my
So,
god!
yeah, man, just working hard and trying
Hardly
to...
working.
But hardly working. Yeah. But, getting it together for the season that's coming up because it is back. and we are busting out with it.
And you know what I'm kind of really grateful for? That we had to wait till, we didn't have to. There's plenty of little things that we could have done, but like that we're waiting till like middle of July.
We're being
to go.
good.
Yeah. I really appreciate that because
You know how bad I want to fly back east and go to a goose show.
now?
I know.
Okay. I'm just saying.
saying.
I appreciate that.
Take out a loan and just go on 7 go to for 3 weeks.
Yep. The thought crossed my mind when I saw J-Rad posted their run. I was like, ooh, I could surprise Mel with a trip. And I was like, nope. We're waiting.
I could surprise them with asking them to take more time off. Like, get in trouble at work. And we ain't got nothing else coming up.
Oh my
You don't
God,
need
I love
health
that.
insurance.
Yeah, who needs health insurance and benefits in life?
Bullshit.
This is the new.
Why are you
my
dependent on the
God.
man, fuckers? Shit.
Oh, also, Mel, how much was your check? Oh,
Yeah. What? Your
Oh,
job
shit.
doesn't give you 280 hours of PTO?
yeah, no.
Sometimes working for the man comes with its
Yeah.
benefits.
Anyway.
That's how the man
Oh,
keeps it. Just
man.
keeps kind of tickling.
And then when you're not working for the man, you're the man, and you got to make yourself go to fucking work and bring home the bacon. So there's no way around it.
You know what? That's a good segue.
The man,
Yeah, we're the man. No,
No,
I'm just kidding.
We're the
I'm not
bacon?
man.
Mark, you're the man.
Yes, you are.
Thank you for coming on the show and having such a freaking stellar, amazing interview with us. That not even an interview; it was a super dope
Great
conversation.
Hold on.
What?
I am remiss. Too early. We
Well,
had
I
the most
wasn't-
amazing email sent to us today. The most amazing email. I gotta tell you guys. Sit back. Okay, get comfortable for just 3 minutes.
Oh, the little
been
tip.
check
comfy.
this out. So, for my birthday, we had a little get together here at the house, and the Abel family came over, and we were all hanging out. It was very late at night, and Cody and I were playing guitar together, and I had brought my mandolin out of the back room, and it was sitting on the table next to us, and Audrey went over, and she was like, or somebody was playing with the mandolin, and she was like, they were like, do you want to see it? And she was like, oh no.
I think it was Cody.
Yeah. Do you want to see it? Oh no, I'll break it. I can't touch stuff like that. And Cody was like, just take it and look
And
at
it was
it.
because Cody kind of like shook it around and strummed the strings pretty like, what are you gonna do to it?
Yeah. And so Audrey, actually that night, as we were all doing our thing, kind of strummed along quietly in the background. First time she had ever picked up a mandolin in the background as Cody and I were playing. And I remember the next morning as her and Jason were leaving, she was like, I might pick up one of those things. Like, so fast forward.
For Christmas,
Oh, yeah, Jason bought her a mandolin for
bought
Christmas.
the family. Yeah.
Yeah. And Audrey has been diligently strumming those mandolin strings. And so from November to now, she's been playing. And
7 months.
she said she's been working real hard at it for about a month, maybe a little more. She really has been putting in the work like every day. And today I woke up and I checked the No Simple Road email, and there was an email from Audrey with this.
In the woods they blow with the gold of sunshine, and my tunes were played on the harp. I started to hear my voice come through the music. Would you hold it near as a bird your own is there?
That was Audrey, Abel, and Darla and Simon. Thank
That was
you
with
guys.
With Jerry backing
With
him.
Jerry backing him up. Yeah. Not many people can say that Jerry Garcia backed up their mandolin playing. So
That's
Audrey,
the sweetest thing ever. If you've seen their kids.
Those
Which you
are-
probably have. We've had them posted on
Yeah,
our
the kids have
Instagram.
actually been
Yeah,
on the show.
yeah.
Yeah, the kids
They
have been
were on the
show.
Northwest
That's right.
String
We were at
Summit
String Summit
episode.
with them. We've been to many pigeon shows with
Yes.
them.
Those
They're
kids have been to more
amazing
festivals
kids.
than me,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
by far.
Yeah, yes.
So that family is
A blessing to
Yeah.
No
Thank you
Simple
so
Road
much,
family.
you
And the
sweeties.
world.
love you guys.
Sweeties.
Yeah, if I knew the way, I'd take you guys home too, man, for sure. But I don't. So let's figure it out together. We'll get there. We're all just walking each other home, but nobody knows which way we're going.
We're all going home.
Somewhere.
Oh,
So yeah, let's do the business. Go to nosimpleroad.com and sign up for the newsletter. Grab yourself some merch. Get yourself a t-shirt, coffee cup, fanny pack. Everybody needs a fanny pack.
Everybody.
It's festival season and it's summer. And you're wearing shorts. You don't want to put your phone in your pocket in your shorts unless you're an old dude like me and you wear cargo shorts. Then you can put your phone in your pocket.
Even like cargo shirts are so hot now. It's getting hotter and it's too much
Yeah.
fabric on you. Get
Right?
a
Get a
regular
fanny
shorts.
Basketball
and a fanny
shorts.
pack. Mhm.
Yeah. And it even says No Simple Road on it. Super cool. So yeah, nosimpleroad.com. Follow us on all the social media platforms at No Simple Road. You can go on Facebook if you do that sort of thing and join the No Simple Road family group. That's happening over there. And also follow the page. Let's see what else.
Patreon.
Yeah, patreon.com/No Simple Road. That is how we pay the rent over here. And let me tell you something. It ain't cheap. Doing
The rent
a
just went
podcast.
up.
Yeah. The rent actually did just go up. So please, you guys.
Our office space just went up.
We could use a little assistance. I'm just saying 2020 wasn't the best financially for the crew here. So we could use your help this year if you are so inclined. So
all
go
it
to-
takes is
So-
$1 makes us smile so
Yep.
much. It makes us so
Wonderful
happy.
every time we get a notification. It's
Yeah.
so wonderful
It
Yes.
to know that
It is a
someone
little
out there
celebration.
supports us. It's
Yeah.
so
For sure.
nice.
It's like, a little heart hug.
And I
Yeah.
also thought about this, like it's an investment in
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, if you believe in us, and
Yeah.
you like what we do, then hey, you know what? I'm going to pitch you guys $1.
yeah.
I'm gonna invest.
I'm going to buy you a third of a cup of coffee every
A
month.
$1.
quarter an episode.
That adds up.
Yeah,
Every
it
little
sure
bit
as
adds
fuck
up.
does. So yeah, patreon.com/No Simple Road. Also, you can call the Tepid line at 971-808-1524. That number again, Mel?
971-808-1524.
Operators are standing by. You can leave us a message. Say anything you want. The line is open. You are not censored. So just
And the
saying.
other thing you can do too, where you won't be censored, is you can go over to the Apple Podcasts and you can leave us a 5-star review,
Please.
And I mean, you can punch that 5 stars. That's really easy to do. We really appreciate that. But then if you spend a little extra time, do like I can. You can, if you're not a typer or texter or writer or something, you can talk to your phone and it'll write out the review for you. So spend those, 10, 15, 20 seconds to give us something. We got 2 back right around my birthday, but we have not had be that June
Hey,
person.
how many days are in June?
31.
Okay.
31?
30.
30. Okay.
Okay.
I lied.
So we
31
have,
May 3. Yeah.
We have like 28 or so days left in the month. Or 28. What the fuck am I saying?
I don't know.
Days.
It's that Aaron math.
Yeah. 7
Earn
days
math.
actually by the time
Aaron
this
is,
comes
or
out.
Apple is correct. It is 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
7
31,
days
31.
left in the month. Please, somebody out there, I'm asking you, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's not an ego thing. It helps in the algorithm for other people to find out about the show, and it's fun to read them
Also,
on
it's a-
here.
And I
That's
want
what
to
it's
sing
an
about
ego
the
thing.
Muna and the Juna and the Springer.
No.
It's Juna.
No,
we need a
Springer.
Juna. Sing about the Muna and the Juna and
No,
the Springer.
anyway, Apple. Nobody knows what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, somebody out there is going to laugh and go, "Oh, dude, I
Dude,
remember
they've
that."
seen that cartoon.
If you did laugh at that joke, write it in a review.
There it is. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, yes. Thanks,
That's right.
Ryder.
And hey, guess what? Go to the No Simple Road website. Also, shows are starting back up. No Simple Road is hitting the road to a bunch of shows. And if you want to come hang out with us, we're going to have all the shows that we're going to be at up there. And what you do is you look on that little calendar on there, or however it's laid out. I can't remember. I'll let you know next time. And you say, oh, I'm going to be at the Gorge. I'm going to hit them up. And you're going to write into info@nosimpleroad.com. And you'll be like, yo, No Simple Road family, I'm part of the family too. I want to come party with you guys and boogie at Fish. And I'm going to be like, okay. And then we're going to exchange information. We're going to keep in touch. And we're going to meet you at the Gorge. And we're all going to party together.
Party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
we'll
I just
meet up
said.
spot.
Yes,
Party.
like Owl just said, party.
Once again, I just got to do that. Tepid line is 1-971-808-1524.
Yeah, what Apple said.
That's good.
Thanks, Apple.
I'm remembering it. I'm
Very good.
proud of myself.
Everybody's proud of you, Apple.
Aaron's credit card number is 7.
Shut up, dude. So, yeah, go do that. And then one last thing. If you live in Portland, Oregon, okay, and you are a poet, here is the official call. We need a Portland poet to submit poetry to the show. You could possibly have your poem sonically painted by John Medeski and Jeff Firewalker Schmidt. You could actually have that happen for yourself. So, just saying, if you are a poet,
If you're a poet,
I guess you could be a poet.
A parrot, a poet, a parrot, a poet, a popper.
or if you know anyone that's a poet, like, get the word out.
Yeah, man. This is a big deal. So send your submissions to info@nosimpleroad.com. I'm being dead serious. We are going to choose a poet from Portland to have their poem painted sonically by John Medeski and Jeff Firewalker
You
Schmidt.
picked a lot of plosives.
I know. That's difficult to say, but I did it. I got through it. And then you're going to be on the new podcast, Saint Disruption. So if you feel that your poetry is worthy and you are a Portlandian,
Even if you
look it up.
don't, guys, there's nothing wrong with just submitting it.
Yep.
Just we're not if we're not gonna blast anybody for emailing something in. Only one of them's gonna get picked. The worst thing that happened is you don't get picked.
Only criteria. There's a couple of criteria I have to say. It's got to be long enough
To be a song.
to be painted sonically. It can't be a haiku. And the other thing is, how do I put this delicately? It can't be bashing anyone or like causing division in any way.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
It can
don't
be
a dick.
woke, but it can't be hurtful.
Yeah, there you go, Mel.
Yeah.
Thank you. It
You
can call
can-
out social issues. It can do all that, but it just can't. You can't be an asshole.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, thank you, Ryder. Follow the rule.
Follow the rule.
The one fucking rule we got around here.
It's the
Don't be a
only
dick.
one.
All right. Well, is everybody good and ready
Yeah.
to go to space with Marc Brownstein?
Always.
Literally do go to space.
Hey, Mark. Thanks, man. That was
Yeah.
super fun hanging out. We got to do it again sometime.
This is
And-
a busy man.
Yeah. And I one of the things I look forward to most in my future is coming to a Biscuit show. So, love you, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Everybody, without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you Marc Brownstein.
And I step into a black hole, take a step back, and maybe I won't go in my And I'm looking out the window, and I see the window, maybe I won't know when to end.
up either. I'm quite concerned about fucking up.
Dang.
You're nailing it so far. So,
All right. I think that should do. That'll do, donkey.
all right.
Wow. It was a mad scramble there at the last few minutes. We had a shadow and the fucking phone was dying and everything was happening all at once, man.
I had a mad scramble too.
You did?
My scramble was slightly different. I had a video game issue going on. There's a child in a conference upstairs. There was like a little screaming. I had to. I was trying to get the lights on because I'm in my DJ show set up here. I'm only about 10 minutes ago did I realize that all of my equipment, my 2 computers, my iPad, my phone, everything that I use for my DJ show was all hooked up and set up from a show that I had late last night. And so I scrambled as well. I was like, oh, I'm doing this podcast from,
From space.
Yeah, from space.
Planet Brownstein.
I've never used a background or a green screen. I've done
Looks dope.
I've done 350 bass lessons on with Zoom this year, and I've done like a multitude, 115 meet and greets all through Lively, and I've never once used a background until right at this moment.
I feel
this was the
lucky.
first time that I was ever opened Zoom up with a green screen behind me, where I was like, "Oh wow, now what do I do?" It's just
It looks tight, man.
It does.
There's no separation. You don't see how sometimes you do it and it looks like shit, like you could see the edges.
right.
You can't
That's
see
the
it.
difference between having a green screen and just turning your background on. And Zoom has a little button to check that says I have green screen. And when I saw that inside the video, it's like Zoom background space.
Right.
Yeah.
There's like 6 of them, right? There's 6 Zoom backgrounds, and everybody's always like going
I'm at the beach.
rising and stuff. Not me. I'm out here in space. Woo!
That's much.
hell yeah.
That's much cooler than the beach things played out.
Yeah, exactly.
How are you breathing, Mark?
It was like Golden Gate Bridge. Like huge blades of grass. There's space. I was like, space. We're going on No Simple Road. This is
You gotta have space. So, Mark, man, it's been a long time coming. Since we started doing this thing, you're one of the people we always wanted to talk to, man. And
oh wow,
yeah,
glad to be here.
yeah,
Well, yeah, you're dope, man. You, your band, what you're doing.
bands.
Yeah, bands.
Yeah, bands.
A lot of bands.
Yeah.
A lot.
How many bands do you have?
Well, I, actively right now, really, you would have to consider the Disco Biscuits, clearly. And Starkitchen is active. That's my funk band that I started.
We were
with
just
some-
listening before you got on.
I mean, isn't everything you do funky though?
really talented. Well, and the point of Starkitchen is to all of my other bands kind of have that kind of jamtronica, 4 on the floor beat, drum and bass, all of the different electronic beats that we incorporated into our improvisation in the 90s. And Starkitchen specifically was started with the intention of playing different beats over improvisation, going back to like more like OG, like classic funk and soul and learning, for me, really spending the thousands of hours, with a group of people, learning how to play in that space more comfortably. That was like kind of the vibe for me. It was about 4 years ago. I was like, all right, now I want to get into funk and soul, and like not from a like, oh, we're playing funk now, but like from like an academic way, like to like break down what was happening in this music that I had never really taken a deep dive into for one reason or another. You know what I mean? I got into jazz.
Right.
I was into rock, like 60s rock. I got into jazz at the end of high school, went to jazz school for a little bit, studied it all through, bebop and, everything from pre-bebop into bebop into cool jazz, and studied all the way up into like modal jazz. And then right after modal jazz, you start to study like Miles Davis, like electric projects, which are like, funk based, electric based. And then, and right when I got up to that, I went back to school. I was at Penn, linked up with the guys in the Biscuits and like just went deep into the jam band world and dedicated myself to that and learning, you know, it all, like everything from getting deep into Fish and the Grateful Dead and the Allman Brothers, and then finding psychedelic trance and seeing a sort of corollary, you know, between the way that psychedelic trance parties were and the way that jam band parties were, you know, treated, and then combining them. That was like the moment for us, was like not combining them initially in the music, but combining the two things. Like, you know, we would have like the Biscuits would play from 8 until midnight at a party, and then our friend who was a psytrance DJ would come on at midnight and play until 6 a.m. and we were just throwing these parties that went like 10-12 hour long in college. And it was just like we would do these 10-12 hour parties where we would be working for the first half and then we would be partying for the second half. And then just naturally what ended up happening from that is the beats and the rhythms and all of the different kind of loops, that the mentality, not even like the actual loops, but the mentality of how the psychedelic trance builds over time, and how loops come in, and every 8 to 16 bars another like sort of element comes in and things drop out, but everything is kind of looped. That mentality of that kind of music we adopted into our improvisation and started just putting 4 on the floor beats down, and Magner got some synthesizers, and we started to try to mimic that kind of process that electronic DJs producers rather were producing in the studio, but live on these, like, you know, I mean, psychedelically fueled journeys. I mean, we all went on a Halloween of, I think it was 1998 Halloween. We got like this gig at a fraternity that was supposed to have like this huge party every year, and like it was always the biggest party, and like nobody really showed up. Like 30 people showed up, and we were like, oh well, let's go. And we all, you know, dropped acid and like played for 2 hours, 3 hours straight over like 4 on the floor beats. And that was like the first moment. Like it just kind of happened. We were like, all right, here we go.
Oh shit.
And it was, and Sammy just started playing the beat, and Aaron had this new keyboard, and we just went for it and tried to mimic what we had been hearing. It wasn't even that intentional. It just kind of happens. You take in one kind of music, and eventually it comes out on the other side, and these two worlds collided for the Biscuits.
That, you know, man, and that's
Starkitchen, to answer your question, and I'll do this. I'll veer off with little.
Go, man. This is all you, brother.
Answer your, if we're lucky, I'll remember that there was a question. Starkitchen is the one where it's like, okay, let's just go back and fill in that gap of like 1972 to like 1985 or something of R&B and funk music. Learn it, and then Electron would be the other one, and then my DJ project. So 4 current musical projects that are going. But of course, at any one time, Conspirator may happen, Brain Damage Eggman. I have something called Tennis Jacket with Jeremy from Big Gigantic. You can't,
and the family.
Enough. You can't have too many ways to fill in the gaps when you're a gig worker.
No, you can't. I love your little tiny coffee cup. It's really small
in comparison to the world.
That is, you're prepared.
That's proper, man. That is proper. Oh fuck yeah, that's dope.
Tree of Life, all kinds of
Biscuits logo. So Mark, man, I want to go back to something that you said about feeling comfortable. So, you know, you said you wanted to explore feeling comfortable in that space playing that music. Was it really like an uncomfortable thing going into that, playing that type of beat and doing that thing?
Yeah, it was. I felt like, you know, I would listen back to myself playing over that music, and I can feel like that I was playing like a little bit straight, like it wasn't swung enough, and it just. I
wonder if
it took time for me to wrap my head around, you know, how to like how to like really swing in the pocket. But like I also like, like Adam Deitch from Lettuce, he said something to me many years ago when we first met. He was like, I always looked at that as like a detriment, right? Like, oh, I'm not like the most swingingest player that there is, right? That's not how I play, and that's a bad thing, right?
Oh.
Like that's kind of how I thought of it for some reason. Then one day we were at Camp Biscuits Festival, and Adam Deitch was there. I didn't know him that well then. We've become really close over the years, but he walks up to me and he goes, "Yo, man, I love the way you play bass, man. We got to get together and play sometime." And I was like, "Really?" And he said this. He's like, "Yeah, it's not like it's so straight. It's not so swung. And it's like all these cats are trying to like, who can be the swingingest? Like it's like everything is like a contest to see who can be the swingingest." And like, you're just like playing it straight, right in the groove. I love it. He's like, I want to play like that. And we have played together a lot over the years. Every time we play together, he's the most complimentary. He's so like, as a musician, I've learned a lot from Adam Deitch because he doesn't have judgment the way a lot of people have. He doesn't judge anybody in a negative way. Like everybody's just on some sort of path.
He's
like
just listening to what's happening.
Path, or you're really far along on the path, but you're not like bad or good. You're just on the path. And that's like a helpful way to frame where people are at in terms of their own abilities and what their sound is like. And we'll talk more about judgmental, because I learned a lot about being judgmental in music from when we played with Billy Kreutzmann and Mickey Hart. Kreutzmann has a lot to say about and the Grateful Dead and how they handle being on stage in an improvisational setting and having to judge what's happening around them or not judge,
right?
And how that affects the music. Are you judging it, or are you just experiencing it, being in it and letting it happen? Like,
right. Reacting.
How close are those two things though?
Yeah.
The judgment versus when you're in the pocket or you're in it. Like, do you feel a dramatic difference?
You can't be in it if you're judging. That's the theory.
Okay.
Right. You can't let it all, you let yourself go and get into the music when you're judging something or somebody else or what you don't like what somebody's playing or whatever, but, yeah, to back to your question, like the answer is yes. I felt uncomfortable, and that it was just more than anything else, my path hadn't taken me that deeply into that style of music, and so I hadn't ever had a chance to really get comfortable playing over beats at like between like 70 and 100 beats per minute versus where the Biscuits play at like 120 to like 170, right? It's like the difference between being in like a soft rock band or being in the Ramones.
Right. Yeah.
And it really is. And the Biscuits are really in a lot of ways like a punk rock band.
How so?
I could feel that. You guys are nonstop. It's like go, different kind of beat, but same kind of forward moving energy.
Yeah, and looseness. You know what I mean? And like the way that because we're going like with a lot of energies and oftentimes at high tempos and with a kind of a loose attitude, kind of like the Ramones or like the Grateful Dead, where everything doesn't have to always be the tightest.
Well, that's where you're going to find the beauty is when it's not scripted and you're off the cliff. That's when magic happens.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? There's two qualifications to being a jam band. Like, you know what I mean? The qualifications are you have to sound like yourself, and you have to. I didn't make these rules, by the way. The Grateful Dead made them.
Okay.
But we're just following them. You have to sound like yourself, and you have to be willing to when you get to the part of the song where it's improvisation, you have to be willing to step off the cliff
and eat shit.
There really are not that many examples of bands that actually step off the cliff when they get to the cliff. There's a lot of jam bands. I saw somebody on Twitter talking about it yesterday, like how a lot of jam bands don't actually jump off the cliff. You know, and so then are they really even jam bands? You know, I mean, I've talked to the Dead guys about this. You know, Phil was the first one who kind of hit me to the concept that if you sound like the Grateful Dead, you're nothing like the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Dang. Because they were feeling it, and now what you're doing is trying to repeat it.
Yeah, you're not being yourself. That's most important.
Right. They were that. They sounded like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sound like you.
Phil said that we were at the Greek Theater. We opened for Phil and Friends at the Greek Theater, and he said after the show, it was one of the great compliments that I've ever received in my life, you know, was that he said that he felt like the Biscuits were one of the few jam bands that fit with the qualifications of you have to sound like yourself and you have to step off the cliff, you know, like he was the one who told me the rules, like, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's like such a wise moment. Like, you can't sound like the band, you know what I mean? At first it was hard because the Biscuits sound like the Biscuits. We have both of those qualifications in that way, but in sounding like yourself, sometimes you don't trust it because because it doesn't sound like anything else. There's no frame of reference for if it's good or not, you know,
dude. Mark, but this applies to everything, though.
Right?
What you're talking about applies to podcasting. I'm not fucking Joe Rogan. I can't do Rogan's show. You know what I mean? But I can do this. I can sound like us. You know, and there is no framework for it. And that thing that there's that nagging fucking voice in the back of your head that, like, because there is no framework for it and you have stepped off the cliff, tells you that you're full of shit or what you're doing isn't worth it. And do you experience that still with the success that you've had this far? Like, do you still hear that voice?
Oh, I'm a complete fraud.
All right, cool. Right on, man. Me too.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, you know, I was studying with Oteil this year.
Right.
And you know, I started this company on the first week of pandemic called Lively. It's the website is golive.ly. And, it's about just under 200 creators of different, you know, disciplines teaching online and also meeting and greeting and, you know, like chilling, hanging, like doing shows. Al from Mo does a lot of like these private interactive shows. He's done like almost 40 of them on our site. And yeah, it's like, I forgot where we were.
You were talking about Lively.
Yeah, no, I was. But how did we get there?
I don't know. We were driving, and then we got a flat tire, and then.
Dang, we were so far with you that we went off too.
I went with you, man. We were just riding in the car, and off we went.
We'll get it back. No,
all right, cool. Yeah, Lively, fine.
We're
later.
talking about
with
being
Oteil.
a fraud.
Yeah, you were.
So I've done these. I'm like using the site as well as like both. I use it as a teacher and I use it as a student, right? So I'm taking lessons with Oteil, who does stuff on the site.
Yeah.
And learning from him, like I realized, like first of all, I've learned how much I do know, but then I also see how much I don't know. And then also he'll call me up and be like, oh, I just learned this new thing I got to show you. And it's like refreshing to see somebody who's like
into it,
your hero,
right?
Talking about how much he's learning in real time. He's like, man, I'm taking these lessons from Tom Guarna. I had a breakthrough. Like he's told me about 3 or 4 different breakthroughs this year, you know? Wow. And it's like, that's like Oteil. And then, you know, there's other guys, you'd be surprised, like working with all of these different musicians,
Right.
how many musicians I've reached out to at the beginning of quarantine and was like, hey, if you want to, no hard pitch. Like, I don't love like hard pitching my network of friends and everything, but like, I'll be like, if we're here for you, if you want to come and be on this website and maybe teach or do some meet and greets. And a couple of like really high profile musicians, like high end, like guys who play in arena bands and stadium bands, were like, maybe in a couple months, like, let's see how this all plays out. Hit me back up. And then I'll circle back around in a couple months and be like, hey, you want to come on the website? I had a couple guys that I was surprised, like, they're my heroes.
Right.
They were like, I just don't know if I have enough to teach. Like, I don't know if I know enough about music. And I'm like, you're my hero. You're my driving light, my like North Star of like that, of why I work so hard to try to get better. Like, and it's just, the point is that people at every level suffer from imposter complex. You know what I mean?
Right.
People at all
Every
throughout.
level.
It's just like this debilitating, like human trait, like of like resistance, like, that's in you that you have to like overcome in order to be successful. It's like this innate thing that's trying to hold you back, that you have to like learn about it, meet it, acknowledge it, and then overcome it, in order to do anything. Because like, I got a piano right over here. Like, nobody, like, before you know how to play it, you don't know how to play it.
Right.
And then you have to have one hand, and your other hand can work independently. Like, there's a moment where you're going to be like, there's no way to get past this. Or
Yes.
you do, or you keep
just
doing
keep doing
it,
it.
and eventually it does happen, because obviously you can see that it's possible.
Right.
But there's a moment where these things feel impossible, like the resistance within. It makes tasks seem impossible to achieve, and then it's like, how do you overcome that moment? And then does it ever go away? Like, it's like the music is this weird thing where it's infinite. You can never stop learning. Like, even if you have perfect pitch and there's still more things to discover along the way. New technologies come out, new kinds of music get invented.
Right.
And then if you haven't ever done that, there's a new thing to learn. Even if you're a master, it's like, here, play over this kind of music, listen to these harmonies that are being used in all of these different cultures around the world. And that's why you see so many of the guys who, like back in the 60s, would like travel to India, the rock guys and jazz guys travel to India and like immerse themselves in Indian music, and then come back and make Sgt. Pepper's,
Right.
Yeah. or indie, like Impressions, or John Coltrane did the same thing. The Beatles and Coltrane, both famous for going to India and then having that music kind of overwhelm
Infuse their thing. Yeah.
musical styles.
So, Mark, how do you like go beyond that part? You know what I mean? Like, how do you go beyond the part where it's like, okay, I feel like I'm playing, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play with my other hand, to make you keep going? You know what I mean? Because you're like, fuck, I don't know this. What is something that you personally do that gets you to the other side, or that keeps you going?
Well, I think you just like get addicted to it. Like, that's like, if it works,
Yeah.
it's because you can't stop. Like, you just, every time you walk past the piano, if that's your example, you can't not sit down and start to do it. You know what I mean? It's like
Like
you
an
can't,
obsession.
Like, for me, that's what happens. I become addicted to the discipline. I like can't stop playing piano. I can't stop practicing bass. I can't stop writing a song. Once I start like producing a song or like writing a new song, it gets like stuck in your head, and you just can't not get it to where it's done. It's like, that's just like your mission in life, is to do that.
Yeah. Is that
That's
thing,
dope.
is that drive, that record that plays over and over in your head, is that the muse?
Yeah, well, it's funny with the muse. Have you ever read the book, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield?
No.
So listen, I read like one book every 4 years. So I don't want to like, oh, wow, he's so intelligent.
Yeah,
He's
Mark, he's so well read.
Like, wow, he knows a book. Like,
I know a book.
this is my only book.
Okay.
But I did read all of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It took me like 6 years, but I did it. I finished it.
You're
like,
still reading it.
It's so good. So good. So in the War of Art, the guy, he's talking to this like Pulitzer Prize winning author, and he said the question is about inspiration, and it's like, do you wait for they're talking, the whole book is about writer's block, and it's like, do you wait for inspiration to strike, or do you try without inspiration? Like, what's your method for overcoming writer's block? Do you just sit around until like the moment hits and goes? And the answer was, and I wish I knew who said it, but at any rate, this is what he said. He said, "Oh no, I wait for inspiration to strike. Luckily for me, it strikes sharply at 9 a.m. every morning."
Oh,
right.
shit.
And so, and the point being, the muse will meet you if you meet them. Like, the muse will be there if you sit down to do the work. But if you're waiting for like some kind of like, revelation or, epiphany that's going to suddenly like pour through you, and you're going to go and write the thing,
The magnum opus.
a screenplay or a song or a poem or a book or a painting or whatever it is, it's more about sit down, do the work, write the thing, and just like expect that you need to write 20 of those things for one of them to be really, really great. And if you take that attitude, you will continuously get better at your craft as you do it. And it doesn't matter what songs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are like,
Right.
because when you get to song 75 and it's brilliant, that's all anybody's going to really care about. But you're never going to get there if you don't write 1 to 74, right? And
Right.
you're never going to make a brilliant thing if you don't put the hours in.
That's
you know
the
what I mean?
10,000 hours
Put
thing.
the fucking
I've
hours
seen-
in.
Yeah, I've seen. I don't feel like with songwriting isn't my thing really. Like John is a songwriter. Barbara was with you guys, right?
Yep.
You guys,
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
to John.
Yes.
right? He's like a genius songwriter, you know what I mean? And he like really, I watched him in college put the hours in, and he asked me to start writing songs, and I was like, I don't write songs. And he was the one who taught me all this. He was like, listen, man, nobody writes songs, right? Sit down, put the chords in order, try to put a melody on top. It's going to suck, and just go do it. And then as time goes on, it will get better. Actually, the song that I wrote at that point was called Eduardo the Penguin. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible song. We haven't played it in like 25 years. But the one right after that is called Rainbow Song. And it's on our first album, Encephalous Crime. And to this day, I have friends who are musicians who tell me it's one of their favorite songs that I've ever written. And it was like
Wow.
number 2, right? It was just like, sit down and do it. And I went directly from, I don't write songs, this isn't me, you got the wrong guy, to making a piece of art that has stood the test of 25 years
That's
with a fan base
insane,
of tens
man.
of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. And it was just like a mindset, like from I don't do this to like, oh, wow, I know how to do this. Like,
Fuck, man. Have you always been like that with everything, or was it just music, Mark? Have you always been driven like that? That kind of like
Just do it,
obsessive
yeah.
thing?
No. I kind of just chilled out a lot. I mean, like music, like I caught the music bug from being a fan, right? Like it was. Now, I got into music really early. Like it was John Lennon was assassinated, and that's when I got like hip to like the power of music. I mean, I was 7 years old, and you turn on the news and there's hundreds of thousands of people at Strawberry Fields across from the Dakota, like up in Central Park West. And it's like, whoa, what's this? And then when my mom tried to teach me classical music, like right here on this very piano, I revolted. I was like, I don't want to do this. Well, all I want to do is learn about that. I want to learn the Beatles. That guy, that dude with the people in the street. I think I called him Jack Lemmon one day. I was like, Jack Lemmon. I want to learn more about this Jack Lemmon character, in Strawberry Fields Forever. They were like, John Lennon. I'm like, whatever. Give me the book.
Just give me the book. Yeah.
they gave me this book called Beetle Gold, which is 3 feet from me. It's still in the piano bench right there. I still go through and play all these songs. Like, you know, I mean, this is 1980, so you're talking 40 years now, and the book's falling apart, to be honest. I need to try to find a replacement of it, but I still do this 40 years later. I sit down, take the book out, play these songs that I learned when I was, 7. So I was into it, but I never got like good at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I only feel like I'm ever starting to get good at bass, like almost now. Like, I'm like almost starting to get good at music, right?
How
now.
old are you?
Like, that's where my head's always at. Like, I'm almost there. I'm almost going to get there. But like, I never got good at piano. I'm almost getting good at it right now. I play like songs and sing them. And like I play this Lobby Sifri song called My Song that I really love. And I play like Jimi Hendrix Angel on piano, which is funny because it's like Jimi Hendrix. But it's and, I could sit down and play like an hour-long set, play like Waste by Fish, and play like a bunch of piano-y songs and sing along with them. And I'm just like almost getting good at that 40 years later. But that's the beauty of music. You don't have to, you're not on anyone's timeline. And like, you don't, like, again, back to like being the punk rock band. Yeah, I'm a bass player. Like, you don't have to be Victor Wooten to make the sum of the parts sound good.
Right.
I mean, is it better if you're Victor Wooten? Probably for him. He's probably pretty fucking psyched he could do all that stuff. I don't have that same technical prowess, nor does, Roger Waters or Paul McCartney. Not that I'm in that class of bass player. Those guys are masters of what they do. I just I'm noticing that with music, it's more about the sum of the parts and what that energy makes. Does it connect or does it not connect?
That's the great equalizer right there, is the energy, man. Like, at least from a fan's perspective, there's shows that I've gone to and yeah, it was cool. I saw a show, right on. And then there's shows that I've gone to that fucking completely changed the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And that's where the energy comes in. That's the thing. And it wasn't about the guy's chops. It wasn't about how fucking badass of a bass player they were or guitar. It was the energy and the thing that happened that got me.
Always about the energy. And I've seen great chops, I've seen,
of course.
Korea, play shows and Tito Puente shows, Dizzy Gillespie, and some of the sickest shit you've ever seen in your life. But the energy was there, Paco de Lucha, like you got like is Paco de Lucha's unbelievable, right? But it's like but also the energy's there. It's like, it's sometimes the over technical playing can have the opposite effect that you're hoping for, in terms of connecting with the audience. But, obviously in those things that there's so much music that's transcended that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, at least for me, man, like when I go out to a show, I'm 99% of the time, I'm looking for that feeling. That's the reason that we started doing this. That's like the whole thing was that feeling and being in that flow. And, man, to take it back to where we're at right now, like 2020 was a motherfucker, man. Like having that thing taken away and not having it around really made me and everybody here realize that we took it for granted on a lot of levels. And that it was always going to be around.
Just a given.
Yeah, fuck it. It's here. Oh, there's a show on Tuesday night. I'm tired. I'm not going to go. That's not going to fucking happen anymore. If there's a show on Tuesday night, I'm going.
Yeah.
and
I hope everyone feels that way because it used to be like that way. Like back in the day, like it didn't matter Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday. Like if your band came through town, you go see them. But over the last couple of years, I feel like that changed. Like and bands reacted. Like there's so many bands out there, and I think many bands started like kind of just like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday because it's. It's hard to hit those middle B and C markets on a, Monday, Tuesday. I mean, not every band has what it takes to to just go out and do like those old school tours, 51, 65, 70 shows just all around the whole country, 5-6 days a week, day off, 5 more days, 2 days off. You don't see that as much anymore.
No, but the
old model of touring, you just don't see it. Like we did it for a lot of years. We'll fly in and play Thursday, Friday, Saturday now most of the time. We just at the beginning of 2020 had our first, we were about to hit our first tour where we were going to start filling in some of those gaps and traveling through the country. And then obviously COVID hit, and now we're just in kind of that weird flux, waiting for things to get back to normal and adapting to. Though I got to tell you, the adaptation is pretty sick, and it brings.
I wanted
back,
to ask you about that.
Important, you know what I mean? Is it being sweaty and packed up against somebody else that you don't know the important part of the show, or is it the band executing really high level and I see these pod shows and I'm like, this to me looks ideal.
Really?
Yeah. Because listen, I come from a group of friends. We go to Fish shows,
right?
And we're looking for a platform that's not packed like the rest of the arena to dance on.
Okay.
We find maybe we find this little area that was held by some corporation, and we one of the cool security guards lets us in, and it becomes the best night we've ever had because we've got this 10-foot by 10-foot platform and nobody's in it but me and my 7 friends, and we're dancing like crazy, right? The energy of the arena is still there, great, but ultimately what are all the people who are dancing in the concourse level, out of the hallways, at a Dead show or at a Fish show doing there? They're
going to get that space,
spinning around in the space. They're finding space they're giving up seeing the show and hearing it in high fidelity in order to have that extra space. So putting 500 platforms that hold 4 to 6 people that have a little table and bar service and food service. There's an app and you get the food or the drink brought to you in 30 seconds. It's
what the fuck?
No, it's and then you're have your own platform that nobody that you don't know is in. There's no weird creepy guy trying to there's no guy who's trying to dance really hard and getting
elbowing you,
making you uncomfortable with his elbows. And then if you want to be that guy, you could do that, but there's nobody there to bother. It's actually quite great.
It's kind of what we've all, you're nailing it there, because it's kind of what we've had so many shows where it's fun to get sweaty, but then we end up moving to the back, okay, this is fun on floor. Let's go way up there to the back where there's space, because I just elbowed this chick and spilt her beer. This guy's over here. Yeah, and this guy's being creepy and creeping up on, us. And so, we're kind of getting what we asked for in a way.
But you're right in front, and the band's right there. It's it's different. I give you that it's different. And I admit that we probably would have never done this had we not gotten into a situation where we need to be distanced away from people, because there's all kinds of logistical issues and costs associated.
It limits ticket sales too.
You need much more. Well, we're selling about the same amount of tickets. It's just we're using a much bigger space. You know what I mean? We're going into,
so it costs more to do the show then.
We're playing, the show that sold out in New Haven. It's 500 people or something, but it's in a 10,000 person tennis stadium, and people are peppered all around the stadium, and you're just using bigger spaces, which cost more. It's a different. It's a different economy for sure. I'm just noticing that from my mom was there in Orlando, and she was like, I love having a platform where nobody's bumping into me, and I was like. It's pretty awesome, right?
Right.
The other fans too commenting about it, but for us on stage,
that's what
we're
I want to know.
In ears, and our stage is spread out already. I'm 8 feet away from each guy, right? Each of us is 8 feet away from the other one. It's always the same, and so it's the same setup as it's always been. And so for us on stage, things are normal and we can perform a normal show and you know, we can hear each other sometimes better than in the regular setup. And so I don't know. I just think if you're able to, as the performer, perform at a really high level, you know, and put out a product that you're really happy with, you know, then the format of it is just like you're imagining a regular concert format from scratch anyway. This stuff is all just being imagined, like, you know, that we're reimagining what a
concert
What it looks like to go to a concert.
Something could look like, as long as the music you can feel and it's loud enough and clear enough. And I don't know. I got to go out. I got to go to one of these and, you know, eat the dog food, as they say, and figure out what it's like being in the crowd at a pod show.
Yeah, well, we got our first one coming up. We're going back to what we were talking about Tuesday shows up here. We're in Portland, Oregon, and where they have Northwest String Summit is 20 minutes down the road from us. They're doing the drive. This will be our first like show. It's drive-in shows out in the field to go see Green Sky Bluegrass. And then
great.
Yonder
and the infamous String
the
Duster.
first thing we did, we weren't even paying attention. We looked at it. We're like, that's going to be a killer weekend. Then we looked at the dates. They're both on Tuesday, Wednesday nights, and we immediately looked at each other and we're like, well, fuck it.
Looks like I'm taking Wednesday off.
Looks like we're, you know, looks like nothing else matters but that Tuesday, Wednesday night show, and we'll deal with that. But we get to go experience it, and I'm looking forward to being able to dance to bluegrass in our own little spot next to our car. And you're going to feel it. There's going to be, you know, a whole field full of people. We can't commingle, but it's live music.
You're going to feel it. I'm interested. Email me after it's over and let me know what it was.
Absolutely.
Like. I want to know what it was like. I want to know, you know, I mean, I guess our fans can tell me too. Like, if you're listening to this and you're one of my fans, like, hit me up on Twitter and tell me what it's really like. Do you miss being crushed in at the front? You know, is it like, is there some sort of combination we can reimagine with a pit and
Yes.
Well, you guys have some drive-in shows planned coming up in the near future, don't you? Or
we have shows at all different kinds of venues. Yeah, we have drive-in, we have this tennis stadium, we have amphitheater stuff, we have like a major league baseball, a minor league baseball stadium that hasn't quite been announced yet, but is going to happen. I hope. And so we're doing a whole slew of different, you know, big places with some sort of limited capacity over the next.
If you could pick, if you were me and you've never been to a Biscuits show, and you could pick one of the shows coming up to go to, which place would you go?
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
It's a great question. When is this going to air?
That's a good question.
In probably like 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
But I'm asking for me. Me and Mel are thinking about going.
Flying down to see you.
Like, probably Red Rocks is the one that I would say is the coolest experience. You know, not announced now, but will be announced today. By the time that I'm saying this to you here in real time, in the time vortex of podcast.
Well, you're in space, so time is different.
It's so weird, like especially when we do these. And he said like 3 to 4 weeks, so that'll be a month from now. A whole shit ton of things will happen in that month.
The world will be completely different.
Exactly, but somehow what I've been finding is that it's just as relevant or more relevant a month from now than it is right now. It's the weirdest shit.
Right. But it does move very fast.
Yes,
There's no telling where we're going to be while this is being heard.
No, man. And
there's no telling where we are.
That's for real. And trying to even stay in the moment right now is a fucking weird thing. Like,
It's been weird. It's been really, really weird. Had a friend over last night, and I did this DJ set. I was like, you may as well come over. I have 2 vaccines, but I've had COVID as well, so I'm fully.
You got the full Monty. You're good to go.
Yeah, I have a strong immune response going on right now, and she just got her 2nd vaccination, and we've been hanging out anyway. I was like, why don't you come over? Like, since we hang out now, why don't you come over during my DJ set? I'm DJing to the internet, but like it'd be cool to have like someone hanging and dancing in the room. My family comes in and out, but like come on over. And she came over. It was really fun. Like it's
right on.
Doing a little performance is great.
Well, this might sidetrack it, but I've been wanting to ask. So this is a question for you, because Aaron did this. We noticed too that during this COVID thing, did you pick up baking during this? Because you see you baking your breads and everything, because Aaron started baking during COVID, and it's become an outlet and a hobby. We all pitched in, bought him the KitchenAid, Pro mixer and everything back for his birthday last year. And
the mixer's great, huh?
Dude, this is so dope. It makes things so much easier.
And there's just we've learned watching Aaron and his what he calls failures, which we just love, whatever. There's such a discipline involved in baking. And that's why I'm curious. Has this come about over the last year, or have you always been into baking?
So I became, for a period of from August 5th till New Year's, I went on a vegan diet. Temporarily. I just wanted to kind of familiarize myself with the concept and give myself a break from eating, animal products. And I didn't know how long I was going to do it for, but it was just kind of an experiment. Let me do this. So while I was doing that, I was looking, my family, we celebrate Shabbat, it's Friday nights, we come together, we eat challah, but the challah is all made with egg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So I started to try to figure out how to make a vegan version of the challah, which was actually quite difficult to make a good one. But it's funny when you're talking about the discipline. First of all, I don't love to eat that much bread, right? I eat some, but it does make me feel different when I eat a lot of bread versus eating no bread or just a very little bit of it. It's kind of just makes me feel different. I can't consume a ton of bread. But in order to become good at something, you need to do it over and over again. And when you start out making bread, and it's the first time you do it, you make so many mistakes.
Yep.
I made so many mistakes the first time. But as I made them, I knew I was making mistakes, and I was like, oh, I screwed that up. I can't wait to do this again so I can do it right the way, right?
Yep.
But if I'm only baking bread on Fridays for my family for this, so I can have a vegan option at the one time a week that I eat bread, I'm never going to get good at it. It was oh, I'll never get good with this. So I had a couple weeks where I was all right, I got to try again right away. Made a couple batches in one day, or tried again the next day, just to hammer out one aspect of it. Ultimately, I found this vegan milk bread, Japanese Hokkaido bread.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's roll. You take the dough, you make the dough, it rises, you do it again, it hit it down, rises again, and then you take it and make it out into a pizza dough. It's so great. It feels so good on your hands when you're pushing the bread out, and a good pizza dough feels so good on your hands. And I'm pushing it out, and you slice it up into these slices and then roll them into a roll and put them in this
the other day.
And rise again, and then proof it or steam it. Steam and proof. You proof and steam. So I'm steaming the thing and proofing the thing, and on my 4th week, I get this just amazing vegan. We used oat milk, which is kind of creamy. This fluffy, incredible bread that my family devoured.
What?
And it became a thing. Every week I made a round version. I made and every week for I don't know, 8 or 12 weeks, I made this Hokkaido bread where people were really, really into it. And then I fell off of it is really a lot of work.
It's
it takes
a lot.
Much of Friday. I had some other things, a lesson and a lively meeting that was on Friday, got moved to Fridays, and it became difficult for me to do that and then I wasn't vegan anymore, so I didn't have like the actual like the necessity.
Fuck it, I'll put eggs in it.
Right,
Yeah.
and so but I love doing it. So, and Lively has these like cooking classes. We have a dozen or so chefs on the site that are doing cooking classes. It does really quite well. Like a lot of people are signing up for these cooking classes, more than I could have telegraphed. I didn't know. When I started this like music lesson business, I didn't know we were going to have chefs or like athletes, or like I just am kind of on a surfboard and it caught a wave and I'm just like riding it as far as the wave goes, and whatever, like along the way we're trying different things out. But our team, we have 8 people who work at the company, and our team took a cooking lesson as a team building exercise. Like, you know, one, like they were like, okay, team cooking lesson. It was so fun. We made a savory tart, like a tomato tart with it. It was such a fun morning. And I'm just like realized like more and more, like I really, really love, I know I love cooking, but like I love doing it with somebody like who's like, now this is the next step. And like,
so
like,
fucking fun.
Like having a professional chef on hand. Like I make pretty good food. My friends and family like really do love the food that I cook, but I'm not great at baking. So having this woman who's a professional baker, Jess Reardon from Blondie's Bake Shop, it's in Centerport in New York. We did this thing with her, and while we were on it, we had this idea, like maybe, you know, I've been trying to figure out how to make challah, and she was like, oh, let's do a thing. And I was like, well, let's do it on Lively, invite Biscuit fans in, and like have like a baking class. So
you did rugula too, right?
It's like the most wholesome thing that I've ever participated in.
I mean, did you make disco biscuits or what? Like, come on.
That was the original idea. Like the original idea was like, we'll make some disco biscuits. So today on Instagram, I put it up. I was like, next, what are we baking next? You know, biscuits or brownies? Got to be one or the other.
That's what I was gonna say. I can't believe we didn't do brownies, man. But well, you know.
We're going to work through all of this stuff. You know, we're going to pick the low hanging fruit and work through all of the different, you know, obvious choices. You know,
I got to hand it to you, man.
I really love baking.
Really...
It is a discipline though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, and you do fail.
Fuck
but
yeah.
like, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, or like start businesses or start organizations or start bands, like, you know, like if you're not prepared to fail, right? If like you're going to stop because you failed rather than be like, I just failed. Now I want to immediately do it again, and not like every time you fail. For me, like every time I fail at something, I'm like, I want to do this again the right way.
Dude, you really fucking, you blow me away, man, because, you know, we got handed a shit sandwich and you really managed to turn it into something rad. And like you said, you know, I'm just on a surfboard. I'm just riding the fucking wave. Well, yeah, but you had to have the balls to get on the surfboard in the first place. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, I think, that you would like. That's the thing about failing that I'm talking about. Like you're like, I have a long list of businesses I want to start. Like, you know, on my like iPad, like, I mean, iPad notes or whatever. Every time I have a stupid idea, I write it down, right? But like, how many of them are you going to do, right? Everybody has like a lot of ideas. And it's, you know, it's like, I had an idea when I was a kid. Like, I thought it would be cool if like the toilet seat was like you stepped on a pedal.
Like the trash can lid.
Like the trash can lid, and you hydraulic toilet.
Dude, that's
seat
fucking genius.
I know. So when I had that idea in 1982, had I patented it then, I would not have to be in a band, because it is a thing now.
Oh, okay.
It was patented in the 90s. 10 years after I was telling everybody, like, you know what we need? We need like to be hydraulic. I also thought like they should like curve it out on the end so that there was a tab to pick up on, so you didn't have to pick up the seat,
touch the piss seat.
And that's in a million toilet seats now too. Like I could have been the toilet seat king.
It's the toilet king.
From the Disco Biscuits to the toilet.
That's like one of like 3 or 4 examples of like things that I imagined when I was young but didn't know how to patent ideas. And like as I've gotten older, like I look back at those moments where I was like, oh, I had this really great idea that could have I had one a couple of years ago that is now on the iPhone, just like a panic button. You hit the button on the iPhone 5 times and it calls 911.
Yeah, I know. I've done that on Apple's done that on accident.
yeah,
we were partying one time.
I pitched that idea 5 years ago to some people in tech. I was pitching it as an app and called Panic. I was like, I have an app idea. I was pitching all my friends in tech, and they were like, that's actually a great idea. It's going to happen. But because of like regulations and 911, it's going to have to, it's just going to eventually be a feature on Apple. Like Apple will make it a feature. But like, you know, you have to, if you want, having an idea is one thing, but doing it is another. Like headcount is a great example. Like, you know, we did it.
You really fucking did it, man. I mean,
did it like
that thing is every fucking where. I see it every time I go on Instagram, anytime I go on Twitter. You guys are there.
Well, can you talk about headcount for everybody who doesn't know what headcount is?
Yeah, for sure. Headcount is it's really now become the preeminent voter registration organization in the music scene and beyond. Over the last, we started in 2004, so now it's 17 years, and it's been, you know, a lot of work by a lot of people, a lot of volunteers, tens of thousands of volunteers. Dang. You know, a great staff in New York, on the shoulders of an executive director who was my co-founder, Andy Bernstein, who has really, really, really taken it, like with any startup, you know, or charity, band, business, it's only going to succeed if there's one person that takes the whole entire thing and makes it their entire existence.
Right.
You know, that's things were splitting time between things, you know, is a recipe for failure. You know, you have to just commit to the whole entire thing. And if like you want to if you want to have an idea you have succeed and you can't do that, you have to have somebody who is that person, right? Like I have a CEO at Lively, Alicia Carlin, who's brilliant she's from AEG, a VP of Global Touring and Talent. And it's like the teamwork between me having an idea and bringing it to somebody, or in the case of a headcount, Andy had the idea and brought it to me, and then we started it together, just the two of us. And you know, quickly call Al Schneer from Mo, who is also, ironically, one of the first people I called when we started Lively. You know, he's been instrumental. I wrote this on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. Al has been instrumental in the growth of everything I've ever been involved with. That's
Dang, Al, shout out.
Well, I mean, that's part of the thing too, man. I mean, you can have the ideas and you can also devote your time, talent, creativity, will, and energy to the thing, but you've got to have people in your corner that love you and support you and will tell you when you're being an asshole, and they'll tell you when your ideas are bad.
Yeah, and guess what? I hope your ideas are bad, because you need to have a bunch of bad ideas to have a good idea. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some of the best ideas come, you know, like 45 minutes in after 10 bad ideas got thrown out. Right. And if you're afraid to throw out the bad idea, you know, you're not going to ever have the good idea.
You know what trips me out, man, is like, I think back to myself at 18 years old and you know, going to shows and doing all the shit I did, touring with the Dead, and seeing these older cats like making stuff happen, and like they were in successful bands, they also had businesses, and they were almost like godlike status in my mind at the time. And now I'm like approaching 50 this year, and I'm realizing that like the people that I've surrounded myself with are those people now. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like,
100%.
And it's fucking trips me out, man. I'm like,
I know.
wow,
like,
I got a seat at this fucking table, and like, I'm in this thing too. Like, it's a trip.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I really do know what you mean. It's like I've, have that same feeling. Like I've had this like kind of like, really fortunate like run working with some of the best like creative people, in the country. Some of them really, really well known, some not so well known, but like really, really, really good.
Right.
And and then like, bringing it back to like head count. If you look at like, we're talking about the bands that are involved, or we'll talk about the volunteers and Andy and everything, but the board of directors, is like, it's look it up sometimes. Just go to headcount.org, board of directors, and look at the people who are like, getting on the meetings and helping really drive the success, bringing people like, Ariana Grande on board for us, or bringing people like, Billie Eilish on board, and just helping take this thing and scale it,
Right.
from Pete Shapiro, being the previously Andy and I were co-chairs of the board of directors for the last like 15 years. And then about a year and a half ago, Pete Shapiro took over that honor. And it's an honor. It's one of the great honors of my life that I was, was able to chair the board of Headcount for 15 years alongside Andy. When Pete comes along and is just, he's just a force to be reckoned with.
He's a force of nature, dude.
When it comes to like that networking and just kind of convincing people to get on board with him, he's just so positive and convincing, and just like, you just want to believe everything he says, and then you go for it, and it's like, he's right the whole time, and no matter how crazy it sounds, like we're gonna bring the Grateful Dead back, and Trey's gonna be the guitarist, we're gonna sell out 3 nights at Soldier Field. Like, how crazy did that fucking sound at first? You know what I mean? I'm sure to the first person that idea got pitched to, you know what I mean? It's like, here we can look back at, GD50 as like, wow,
Holy shit, he was right.
He pulled that off,
and he
right?
started a thing.
There's just like Pete and Don Strasberg and Andy Gadiel and Nadia Pressure, and there's like kind of like there's these like people from DC, political people like Jesse Tolkien, Diane Blackman, and we've had Alyssa Mastromonaco, who was the deputy chief of staff for Obama's White House.
Holy shit!
For the last like 7 years, and it's just like, it's really some of the most brilliant people out there, most brilliant, successful people, and they're, they come together to just try to help push these causes forward. And I just feel so honored to, to be able to sit and listen to some of the smartest people I've ever met, have these incredible ideas in real time, on board meetings for our charity. It really is a dream. The whole ad count thing it's so great to see something start out with, me and some friends, and bring in Al, who then brought in Bob Weir, who then brought in Dave Matthews, and that's just how quick it goes.
A tsunami happens
from me to Al to Bob to Dave, and it's like 6 degrees of separation up the ladder of up the ladder size of venues, and all of a sudden you're reaching hundreds of thousands of people with your message.
Damn.
Right, it goes from an idea to reaching hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, in weeks.
Well, and that thing causes change to happen in the world that we live in too. Not to mention that part of it. I mean, it's no small feat to get anybody to do anything nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And then to have that thing cause change is huge, man. It's
I feel like you live your life like the way the Disco Biscuits play.
Yeah.
Just boom, 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 boom. Just do it, whether it's perfect, not perfect. You just keep going, and you just have a lot of really good, positive energy, and a lot of it.
Hey.
And it really comes out in everything that you're doing.
So much energy. My family would say sometimes too much.
Hey, Mark, how's your eye?
Oh, it's a thank you for asking. It's a good question. I think that I can't really see anything out of it, but we've tried, the doctors have tried all these different things to make it, to fix it, but it hasn't recovered the way that we were hoping that it was going to recover. And now it's kind of in an influx place where it's like the technology advances at such a rapid pace with this kind of like new medical discoveries with the eye are coming out every couple months. I read articles about them all the time. And so my doctors kind of has me in flux where it's like, we're going to just hold where it's at, not do anything else, where they can do some things. There's like some things that can be done. Like there's some scar tissue they could take out. There's different things that can improve my vision from not being able to see anything to maybe being able to catch a glimpse. But they just want to wait until it's like technology is there to fix
Hook it up.
My retina's fucked. So, but I remain optimistic that at some point in the next couple of years, my doctor's going to call me and be like, dude, we got it. Come on in. We're going to, clear 2 months. We're going to do a retinal transplant.
And you're going to be a pirate for a little while wearing an eye patch.
Right. Exactly. They have eye patches sometimes. It does kind of fuck you up a little bit,
Dude,
I like recently I was like, I think I get why people wear eye patches. I'm just starting to get that. I'm not going there. But,
man, I read that when it happened and like, I feel for you, man. And keeping good thoughts. I know it'll work out for you too, man.
It's a whole different, like we're all dealing together with like this kind of national, like global trauma, and then I've been like kind of dealing with this other thing on top of it, what I mean? And then I caught COVID. It was a rough year.
And you're still smiling, man.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, brother.
Killing it.
Shit.
I had you know what? Let's give a plug to Backline.
Yeah.
Can we just plug Backline?
Absolutely.
Organizations like, I don't want to be overly dramatic, like saved my life, but like they saved my mental health this year, because in the pandemic, if you start feeling like you need to talk to somebody, there's nobody to talk to. Everybody's booked. Like if you wait until like a year in, there's nobody. Everybody's booked. I went through so many therapists. I was going to try to find somebody. And then I got a little discouraged about it, and I wasn't feeling great about it. And I had told some friends, like, I'm trying to get a therapist, but like, I'm not having luck with it. And then it just hit me. I was like, oh, Backline. That's what they're here for. They're here for musicians. And like now, like if you're a musician now, like in order to not be down, you've got to have like the cheeriest, most optimistic disposition of anybody in the world at this point, a year into what's going on here.
Right.
I have so much empathy for my fellow musicians and like gig workers and like crew members, especially the crew members, the hardest, because musicians, we like have things that we could leverage, do shows online, do Facebook shows and put up your Venmo. People are, there's ways to support musicians. The crew members really had it incredibly hard.
Yeah,
and
they
so
took it in the pants, man.
It hit me. I reached out to Backline. In like a day, this is a couple months ago, in like a day, they were like, here's what you're going to do. Da, 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 da. Had a meeting with somebody from there, and then they just hooked me up with somebody locally here who volunteers their time.
Wow.
For musicians in need. This is like a person near me that was already budgeting time in their schedule to help musicians in need. And so I'll just say, if you're like, in the music industry or whatever, and you're feeling like a little down, call Backline, backline.care. It was game changer for me. So if you see me smiling now, I know, like, I'm feeling pretty good.
That's rad.
That's fucking dope.
I know what you're talking about. I thought the same thing. I was like, there's nothing really going on, but a lot of shit has happened this year. let me go and, just find a therapist and just have somebody outside of the house to talk to. What you said is no bullshit. There's therapists that are out of business because their life's fucked up now too. And there's therapists that are so booked that you can't get in. Then there's therapists that are like, I can't even take that insurance because we don't get paid. And we need to be getting paid. Like there was so many different reasons that I couldn't find a therapist that I just never did. So that's dope that Backline was there for you, because I know during this time it has been super hard and challenging to have that as an option.
And you know what? If you're feeling down, like if you're like I said, like as a joke, I'd be like, if you're not like a little anxious and a little depressed right now, I don't trust you.
Like, yeah, yes.
I want to like normalize it because like it is normal and it's not like it doesn't like it doesn't you don't have to not get help. And like I mean like in like I said to this guy after 4 weeks, I was like, hey, I want to stick doing this because I'm really enjoying it. And I feel, but like, it's a really short amount of time to be feeling this different. You know what I mean? It's like 4 hours of getting it all out. And then you just sort of like feel so much better. And that's like advocating. I'm advocating for, therapy like, I advocate for going to the gym. Like go to the gym because you need to like do cardio to work the insides of your body to keep it healthy. And like going to therapy is like going to the gym for your mental health. You know what I mean? It's not like fixing something you don't have to do it to fix something that's broken. Right. And who I love, Howard Stern, advocates for therapy as
He's in
like
therapy
a
like 7 times a week.
Normalizes it. I listen to Howard Stern and he just talks about it all the time, and he normalizes the idea of like talking publicly about going to therapy is like nothing. Like, oh, he goes to therapy 3 times a week. It's like Howard Stern, one of the most successful guy in media,
Right.
So,
well, this is a time where people are finally talking about like serious shit, your health, like finances, like not having money, not having insurance. Like everybody always wanted to be like, I'm good, I don't need any money, I got a good job. Like nobody wanted to talk about their problems or be real. And now everybody's like, you can't even help it.
Real.
Yeah, shit got really real and you couldn't like not talk about it. And it's rad that like what you were just talking about as far as like the mental health, like it is the equivalent of the gym for your brain. When are you ever getting all this shit out? If you're not like somebody who's fortunate to have a lot of people around that just will be willing to listen, you're keeping all that shit weighing you down. So your ideas, your creativity, all that's going to suffer, your happiness. So yeah, that's just a rad thing to normalize and get out there. Like go to the fucking gym, go to the fucking therapist, take a class,
drink,
fail,
eat fiber,
do the stuff.
Howard Stern talks about that too. Metamucil crackers he has. By the way, best thing I ever did was start doing like being like, oh, Howard's eating Metamucil crackers. Let me grab some Metamucil crackers.
Can we talk about taking a shit, man?
Life changing. Fiber is so good for your digestive system, right?
We're on the prune train over here.
Yeah, we're rocking the prunes.
I will say this, like, and I could, as somebody who does have anxiety, I think that I've cured it by switching from sativa to indica.
Oh yeah, that'll help a lot.
Like, I want to mention this. If anybody out there is like, just like thinks that they have to have sativa because the public PR campaign about how it's the daytime thing and how indica will couch lock you and make you lazy or tired or whatever. Whatever big sativa is saying out there,
corporate sativa.
Yeah, because they did a really good job of like spreading that so much so that I would be like, oh, I gotta go sativa. I can't.
Why do I feel so sketched out all the time?
But I've been suffering from panic attacks for the last since Big Sativa got me.
Damn.
And I finally decided to change that, and and switch over to indica. And I've been honestly since I met it was just only 2 weeks ago. I was like, maybe I'll try something different here. And
wow.
I'm happy to report that My anxiety is cured. Literally,
Damn.
like, cured.
Dude.
Like,
Yeah, sativa's not going to help your anxiety.
no, thanks. Am I the last person in America to figure this out?
I work in the cannabis industry up here. I'm inventory manager for 2 dispensaries, and it drives me nuts how many people, a lot of, like you said, big sativa, that cracks me up because it's gotten in people's head. Like a placebo effect almost. I see it every day. I can look at somebody and they come in and say, I'm looking for this. And you just pick something and you go, oh, that's what this is. Even if it's not, they believe it and it works. A lot of times. And then a lot of people are hooked on this. Say, well, I don't want to go to sleep. And it's like, indica, you're in control of this kind of.
Nope, you're going down, man.
Yeah. Indica's not going to knock you out unless you're already like lazy or you need a nap or something. And indica, that's what I do. I'm an indica smoker because I want to be relaxed. I don't want to smoke marijuana to be like, there's other things for that to get all,
I'm already jacked up just automatic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, what I need is to chill out, not have more panic.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It was a big moment when I realized that, and now I'm like feeling pretty good about that change.
Heck yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you taking time with us and hanging out, Mark. And
it's so fun.
Fuck
I
yeah,
know.
man.
Also, we forgot to say, dude, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
You just had another birthday with
Mark.
48 years around the sun now.
48 years.
Hell
Dang. And you're killing it.
Just hanging on by a thread.
Just getting started.
I feel sometimes like I'm like
Just getting good.
I'm like a water skier that's like fallen but won't let go of the rope. And drag along, flopping. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's how I feel.
Weekend at Bernie's. Oh,
I'll shoot you an email if Mel and I decide to do the Red Rocks thing, and maybe we could say hi.
That would be great.
All right,
That would be
bud.
dope, Mark. Oh my gosh. Thanks for spending time with us on a friggin' random Saturday and sharing all of it. Good, bad, ugly, everything. It was really fun, high energy, and I really appreciate your vibe on the show. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mel and Aaron and Apple. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. You made our Saturday,
Yeah,
man.
man. We're gonna go listen to some Biscuits.
I'm gonna go check out the cherry blossoms.
I'm gonna listen to sativa, or I'm gonna have some sativa and get jacked on the Disco Biscuits.
Put the biscuits on and go take a 6-mile run.
Hell yeah!
Take it easy, brother.
All right.
Peace, Mark.
That's a cool ass cat right there.
Dang, out
that's
the
a
gate.
Cool ass cat.
He came out the gate.
Boom!
with
I was like, I just fucking
Yeah, there was no lull or anything there.
I wish sometimes that, like, as an interview was playing, there could be another track of my inner monologue happening, like quietly in the background, Aaron's thoughts as the interview happens.
Well, I can give you a journal too, babe, and you can start writing shit down.
Because I was like, fuck yeah, this is going to be the best fucking interview ever. I don't have to say shit. I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to get comfortable.
I say he can certainly take it. That is a busy man. That's a man doing a lot of fucking things. And one of the things I loved is when he was talking about you got to be an asshole with bad ideas to come up to not be an asshole and come up with good ideas.
Yeah.
He said that
you gotta put it out there.
There was a lot in this interview that was very inspirational without meaning to be at all.
Oh, I don't know about not meaning to be.
Well, I mean, it was just like certain things that he was saying in the like in the course of a sentence. It wasn't like, stop the presses. It was just
he didn't have meaning behind it, but it comes through with meaning after he speaks it. And
dang. Thanks, Mark.
It's funny, man. It's like I picture me and Apple in his room in Vegas in 89.
In 1980, like when he was talking about in 80,
just like
playing Beatles
tripping
stuff
on acid,
and
listening to Jimi Hendrix, and to now.
I want to know more about this Jack Lemmon guy.
We have a successful podcast, and like we're doing our thing, and then him like in college taking doses and playing with his friends, and now he's chairman of this, that, the other thing, and head count and Disco Biscuits, and it just trips me out, like the arc of life and the people that you would never expect, that society always poo-pooed and like, well, they're burnouts, they're whatever, are the ones running shit now. So
Good.
in your face,
In your
motherfucker.
face.
In your face.
Shit. Don't be talking
What
shit.
happened there? That was a little
My
weird.
mic has a malfunction.
Well,
Anyway, Mark, anytime, I know Biscuits don't play Portland very often or ever, but if you guys come out here, man, you got to come by the house and hang out.
Yeah.
We'll make
I
some
was going to
holla.
say, I was just looking for these because now after talking to him earlier on the porch, I was reading it. Brooklyn Bowl posted like 10 inspirational.
Now they make
Marc
sense.
Brownstein. Well, I mean, they made sense before, but this is a person that lives by it. But these are kind of ones you've heard. But it's like he says, but it's like anything in life. The bigger the risk, the greater the reward. So, like, I mean, this guy, after talking to him, he definitely does it. And then where's the other?
What about the hat?
No, not the hat one.
Love the hat. Take
gotta
care
put
of
the
that.
hours in.
Yeah.
Whatever you are, it's nice to have success in it. Is another one.
Yeah.
Commit to the whole thing. Don't split your time in order to
And
be
here's-
successful.
And here's the one that definitely is what he's doing. The best way to learn how to do things is to say yes to the things you don't know how to do. Just dive into it head first and learn it. There is no substitute for real world experience.
No.
Dang.
No, you can read about some shit a million times. You could watch YouTube videos of somebody doing some shit a million
Like
times.
watching doesn't equate
and
to.
then you're like, I know how to do that. No, you don't,
No, you don't.
motherfucker. You do not know how to do that. Go try. I did that. We bought a mace, a steel mace to exercise with. And I was watching YouTube videos and I was like, that shit looks easy. I could do that. And I watched a whole bunch and I was like, I'm really good at this. Watch. And I got out there yesterday. I almost fucking broke myself in half. I'm all sore. So, yeah.
But you taught me some stuff in that short time where you almost broke yourself in half. By the time I came home, you were showing me moves. So it was like the second hand going on the piano in that short of a time.
Practice.
Yep.
So get addicted to discipline, guys. That was from Mark. He said he gets addicted to discipline. If you want to create shit, you want to have multi companies, you want to have,
Or just one good one.
yeah, get addicted to the discipline that it takes to get you there. And this is definitely on the heels of what I'm going through too.
Me too.
So really sweet,
And
really
read
cool.
at least one book every 4 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you read a book.
Make it the
That
war
was
of art.
hilarious. That was great, Mark. When you take, I'm not trying to sound like right?
Like I know stuff.
Yeah, I've read a book.
All right. You guys, we'll be back next week with more stuff and things. We appreciate you hanging out with us. And remember, take care of each other and be nice and smile and don't be a dick. Wash your hands.
Take care of yourself.
This is in the words of Mark, the last ones. Here it is.
Well, no, it's not going to be the last
All
ones.
right.
I
Never mind.
gotta tell
You
you a
get-
couple other things
All right,
before
go.
we go. Remember to support the No Simple Road family of sponsors. So that would be Sunset Lake CBD, Shop Tour Bus,
Grady's Cold Brew Coffee,
Define Premium Cannabis,
Electric Fish Lights.
and Manscaped.
Sunset
hopefully
Lake?
I said Sunset Lake.
Well, support them again.
Double
Double
support.
support.
Double support Sunset.
And yeah, man. And also make sure you listen to all the other podcasts on Osiris Media because we are not a lone wolf. We are part of a wolf
We're
pack.
affiliates.
We are part of a wolf pack. We are actually an Osiris original podcast.
Boom.
That's what we are. So what were you going to say is our last word?
I was
going to
say that Mark's these are great last words to live by. There are moments that seem impossible for everyone. Just remember that.
Like twist and turn, the mission turn, and it's a journey. Wish the word is many problems, but it's a burden. Valley needs has been deferred, and hell means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, persevere. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
What's up, everyone? It's Joe, and I'm the host of That's Awesome with Joe, a podcast on the newly formed Sound Talent Media Podcast Network. I talk with tons of your favorite artists, managers, touring personnel, and more. Most of the time we talk about music, but lots of the time we end up talking about something completely unrelated. We laugh a lot. We do a lot of really stupid things, but also some things that are really informative and interesting. Basically, it's a podcast that I think you should listen to. Obviously, I'm biased because it's my podcast, but I think I might be into it if I wasn't the host. Check it out at soundtalentmedia.com.